5, 4, 3. Hi, everybody. Dugroz here with Dugroz Reports. Welcome to the Saturday morning live stream. Today is Saturday, March the 21st, 2026, and I'm reporting live from my house. Good to see each and every one of you this morning. Let's take a look and see who is online and has joined us, and then we'll jump into our normal Dugroz data points and a brief comment on the format today. John is here. How you doing, John? First, Samuel Benton is second. Tom Graber is here and gifts 1 Dugroz Reports membership. Celebrate. Boy, thanks so much, Tom. I really appreciate it. In case I forget, remind me to come back to the tip jar in just a few moments here, folks. If somebody can let me know if the audio is okay. I haven't used the microphone in over a week. Right at a week. Testing. All right. FLX-NY, glad to be with you. Arizona Fox, good morning. Happy spring break. Yep, spring break for our family is, well, it's the week that just ended. And DEM is here. Good morning. Nuracan, and let's see. DM just came back from the beach. Too hot already in Las Vegas. All right. James Wynn, live from his house. That's right. Absolutely. Mike Newland's here. How you doing? Good morning from the Big Island, Hawaii. Hello, Hawaii. Can I come over? Garfield holiday special, Hawaiian special. It's super early, but a friend recommended I be here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you stopping by, and congrats on a Hawaii trip. We need a beach. Okay, DM says Dugroz seems to have a pretty consistent morning schedule these days. Yes, that is true. 543, good morning, says Dimitri. Glad to see you. And let's see, A tier. John says testing. All right, TH-Midwest is here. Thank you. Loud and clear. I appreciate that. New again noted I said I'll be close on time. I got to remember that. I think when I pushed the button, it was 9:32 Central Time. Thank you. Nuracan, audio good. Great. Jake Loves Jesus is on board. I appreciate it. Jason reminds everyone to subscribe and hit the like button. That helps drive people in. So if you're not a subscriber, please go down, find the subscribe button, hit like. I've heard of this new thing called Hype. It only exists on mobile devices, and I don't know what it does other than someone told me it makes small-time creators with like under 10,000 subscribers. That includes me, more likely to be seen. New again says, but boss, don't write me up for being late. I was close to on time. Try that on Monday. See if it works. Happy Tom says, greeting from HA0842. I don't get the reference. I'm probably missing something, but that's okay. Luke says, Douglas Lynn, good morning. Nope, Douglas Roy is what you're looking for. John says, slap the like button. And FLX says, I assume we'll be talking about City. Hey, perfect lead in to what the theme of the day is today. Today's theme of the day is the Wheel of Topics. Wheel of Topics. So let me give you a little image here of what that's like. I forgot to set up my share the screen before I went on board here. Can you see it? Yeah, there. So we're going to spin a wheel and talk about a topic. So far I have 4. Chase ruins price match, City ruins hotels. I said that wrong. The first one is Chase price match, then City ruins hotels, Doug's credit card apps, and future spending opportunities. So that's what we're going to be getting into for the theme of the day today. And the real life lore explanation of why that's the case is I had a very thorough week, a very busy week, and didn't really keep up on my points and miles news. So I see these thumbnails from my fellow content creators like Luke, like John, saying City ruined hotels. And I'm like, well, I don't know what that means. So this morning I decided to finally look them up. So I'm kind of an ill-informed host today, but I can still react. This is going to be like a pure reaction kind of thing. So we'll just see where that goes here. Minimal preparation kind of day, but we've got our Dugroz data points as usual. There's a couple different ways you can support the channel. I will get into those in just a moment, but let me remember that one of them is called the tip jar. So if you don't want to give 30% of your donation over to YouTube, go to the description box and the top URL. We'll have a link to the tip jar where you can make an anonymous donation, or maybe you just don't want YouTube to steal as much of the money. And last week at the very end, I got a tip that I didn't notice, so I'm going to acknowledge it now. It's from Jason, who said, I made the first live in a while, but always catch the replay. Not loyal to either brand and can get cards for both me and player 2, Marriott, Hilton, or both. And I said, I prefer Hilton's. The value is getting worse, but so many little things. More predictable breakfast, connecting rooms, $50 credit on the Surpass. Thanks so much, Jason. And Jason, if you're the same Jason that's on board this morning, please wave and we'll do a celebrate for a $10 tip. Celebrate. Just 1 week late. All right. A little more on, well, no, let's go and start our Dugroz data points now. I'm sorry the room is so dim and dull here. We've got not enough light or something, but that's okay. We're all here. You're not here for my face. Probably. All right. So Dugroz data points. We kind of go around the world, around the horn in the world of points, miles, cash back, credit card rewards, that kind of stuff. Anything that interests me. First up, $400 checking account bonus with Capital One 360 checking account. And this is targeted. Hat tip to frequent miler on this one. Just like the description says, if you don't have a Capital One 360 checking account right now, you can get a good bank account sign-up bonus. Ironically, I had been mentioning on the live stream for several weeks, I'm going to do this for my wife. I almost missed it, just barely got in. That was a $300 offer. They closed it and then relaunched it as a $400 offer with the exact same requirements. So this is one of those times where if I had been a little more tardy, it would have actually paid off. But oh well, $300 is still good. But you may have it for $400. What you have to do is log into your Capital One account, as long as you don't already have one, credit card, savings account, whatever, with Capital One, and just poke around and see if you can find it. You have to get 2 direct deposits of $500 or more within 75 days of opening the account. That's quite an easy bonus to hit. So if you have a Capital One login but not a checking account, see if you're targeted. I don't know whether or not the $300 option is still available if you're not targeted. Next Dugroz data point here is hat tip to friend of the channel, Ron B. And he reminds us that Citi is no longer allowing you to pool points between you and another card holder as of, I believe it's May 16th is the window where that ends. And he said, it's looking like I need to stop spending on my wife's double cash pretty soon if I don't want the points stranded. Her double cash closes on March 24th. The payment is due April 21st. The following statement after that, and Citi posts points at the end of your statement, will be after the May 16th cancellation transfer window. It might be worthwhile for people to check their closing dates so points aren't stranded. So really, depending on when your closing date is, any spend after April 16th might not be able to be transferred. So just check your statement dates carefully so you can figure out when you need to stop spending on your Citi cards. If it's a player 2 situation and you plan to transfer those points over to player 1 or a friend or whatever. John reminds everyone to hit the like button. I see 45 people on board. That's okay. We're doing all right. Happy Tom clarified when he said good morning from HA 0842. That is not a stormtrooper designation. That's a Hawaiian Airlines flight. James Wynn is excited to spin. Win, spin, get it? New Again says, get my MMA gloves on. We pounding City today? We probably are. And Jake says, hey, Doug, have you ever tried the Boring mattress? It's run by the guy who founded Tuft and Needle. I have not. In fact, I haven't even heard of it. Do you recommend looking into it? I'll take a screenshot and maybe I'll grab that. Okay. Kevin Hawthorne says, good morning from Lakeland, Florida. Well, good morning from Central Iowa, Kevin. Let's see. Spartan Finance is calling in from South Jersey. And FLX says, I don't recall seeing this shirt. It's been in the rotation. In fact, I think if you were in Puerto Rico at the last creator meetup, you got to see it in person. New Again says, is that a reference to the fact that most of my shirts, you've seen them 20 times? New Again says, I got my mouthpiece and gloves on. We pounding City today? Yep. My 2-month splurge credit issue still unresolved. Ooh, City. Cesar Joel is here. Mi hermano, how you doing, brother? Hit the like button, he says, and good afternoon. Cesar, I sent you a direct message on Discord. You might want to take a peek at that. Happy wishes he was on a Dreamliner. Nugan says, weird, that first message was restricted and can't be seen, so deleted and create a new one. Well, I was able to see both of them. I read them twice, so we're good. We're good. Better to have too much interaction rather than not enough. That feeds the algorithm. All right, but we got a couple more Dugroz data points here. More than a couple. We have a large handful. Now, if you're wondering, like, Doug, why aren't you getting into the big juicy ones? And the two big juicy ones are Chase adding travel protection and even juicier City nerfing hotel transfers. That's part of the main event. So I'm going to defer all of those questions till after the bathroom break. Having said that, where was I? My train of thought just derailed slightly. Okay, here we go. I'll get back on my train of thought. If you take a look at your City merchant offers, if you have a City card, CITI. Oh, I was supposed to show this one first. You can save up to 10% on $100 in Walmart purchases, walmart.com. This one is targeted. So some people have it, some people don't, and yours might be less. Looking at comments, it seems to be up to 10%. And then, spoiler alert, retroactively, I did have 4% back on Walmart. Mine, it says Walmart stores, Walmart website, or the Walmart app. So I have a little more variety. So yeah, I can use it. Only appeared on my Strata Elite. It didn't appear on other cards. But hey, Walmart, that's like legal currency in my household. I'll definitely be using that one. And then Ron Byrne let me know about this one, and I had it on my phone also. Quick Star, which is a gas station here in the Midwest, 5% cash back, also on my Strata Elite. And speaking of Strata Elite, something wonderful happened in summer. No, something wonderful happened earlier this week. You know what this is a picture of? My City Strata Elite. So I opened it, when was that? January, I think, and had to spend $6,000 to get the 100,000 point sign up bonus. Statement closed just 2 or 3 days ago. And looky there, 100,000 point sign up bonus. Plus $14,000 of normal spending. 14,000 points from normal spending, including a little bit of City nights, but not that much. So yeah, even though we're a little ticked off at City, 100,000 points is 100,000 points. So sign up bonus locked in. Thank you, points. Awesome, awesome possum sauce. All right, where were we? I'm sorry, folks. I got to blow my nose. I'll be right back. To find the unmute button. There we go. Okay. Okay. Ian is here. How you doing, Ian? Good to see you. Hope you're enjoying the Jersey Shores. The weather must be warming back up to driving to work on Saturdays with Dugroz. Great. Flory Jack says, hey, Dugroz, I ended up getting stuck in your Des Moines International Airport on the way back from Costa Rica when our flight got diverted from Chicago. Oh, was it a mechanical issue or was Chicago having weather-related stuff? Now, somebody else said that they also had the same thing happen. It might have been you. Did you send me a Discord earlier this week or put it on a different video? I don't remember. Sally Beery's here. Good morning from my son, your biggest 9-year-old son. I'm assuming you mean fan. Your biggest 9-year-old fan. Awesome. Well, obey your mom. Let's see. Oh, I don't think we've had this one before. Estine, Miami. I'm so upset about the I prefer to value the city. Well, first of all, I'm good to see you. Glad we could meet. And thanks for hopping on board. And we'll talk about that. I'm upset too, but it's such fresh information. I don't even know how to react. Thumbs up. All right, 58 people on board. Keep on subscribing and hitting thumbs up. Flory clarifies, it was very nice, Des Moines, but it was 2 a.m. plus a 7:47 of people needed to clear customs via one bus load at a time. Oy vey. So I have a question for you, Flory, and this is kind of like one of those data points I've always wanted to collect. Did you fly directly from Costa Rica to Des Moines with the diversion, or did you have a stop in Houston or Atlanta or something like that. It was weather related. And James says 100,000 city points. The reason I asked about the direct from Costa Rica is, Des Moines International Airport is called an international airport, but has no international flights. And what I've been told is it has to do with both runway length and the fact that it can handle customs. It's just that there aren't any normal flights. So that would make sense. They've got two very sleepy, customs and immigration employees over in a building 3 blocks away from the airport who normally sit there doing nothing all day, collecting their juicy government salaries. But once in a while, you have a diverted flight, and all of a sudden they become very busy. Okay, yeah, it was directly from San Jose to Chicago. San Jose, Costa Rica. Yeah, I think that's accurate. Capital of Costa Rica, San Jose. Yep, that's it. Do you know the way to San Jose? Wrong one. James says government's nice. $159,999 salaries. Ronald Hugh is here. Sup. And Mike says, where was the peaky fear to the mouth? You said 100,000 points. I thought I did it. I was a little delayed. If I missed it, I apologize. San Jose is nice. I'm assuming you're talking the Costa Rica one. All right, we've got more data points here. Next up is a personal data point, so probably won't have a lot of meaning to a lot of you, but I'll mention it anyway. The young lady at the bottom of the picture here, her name is Lisa Dawson, and she's from Northern Ireland and is a content creator on YouTube that I really like. She sings traditional Celtic songs, Irish, Scottish, Welsh, etc. And I made a donation to her channel, a small one. It was like $5 a few weeks ago. And hey, look, I got my name on the screen. So even though I'm a big shot, I do still like seeing my name in lights now and then. It just gives me kind of a tingly feeling. And then in terms of a more somewhat mainline data point, Frequent Miler said, I thought this was interesting, get paid to visit Vancouver, British Columbia. Yeah, you can do that. So basically, Vancouver, British Columbia is over on the west coast of Canada, and it's interesting because several of the times I've done price comparisons, I'll take a pretend trip there. And basically, they have like a Vancouver Hotel Destination Association, VHDA. They run a promotion a few times a year that gives folks a prepaid MasterCard gift card when they stay at one of a few dozen downtown hotels. The only catch is that you have to stay either 2 nights or 4 nights, and you must complete that stay by the end of April this year. So you've only got a month plus about a week if you want to visit Vancouver. So not planning on doing it this year, but I'm going to tuck it away for that hypothetical future year, 4, 5, 10 years down the road when my wife and I are fully empty nesters. Sorry. James says San Jose is nice. Yeah, the other San Jose is terrible. Oh, okay. Dad on a mission said, I'm celebrating my birthday today by watching Dugroz. Oh, well, celebrate. Happy birthday to you, Dad. David Williams is here. Good morning. James says, just in time for St. Patty's Day. Happy birthday. And Ian, I ended up getting the Built Palladium card. Ended up with 100,000 points in 14 days. Not bad. Was very easy to pay the mortgage. No really issues yet except slow customer service. That is awesome. So you got 50,000 from the bonus, and then I'm assuming you spent enough to get the others. Mike says Built for the win. Hey, my needle is slowly rising on Built. I'll probably hop on board soon enough. New Again says, in regard to James, I lived in the Bay Area. I agree San Jose, the San Francisco one, is not nice unless you're wealthy. Then it's a whole different San Jose. And FLXNY says, happy birthday to Dad on a mission. Hey, we're over 63. Great. Keep on clicking the thumbs up button, and we'll get her done here. We'll get 100 people in here, maybe. Next, Dugroz data point. We already went over that one. Disregard. Let's talk about ways you can support my channel. So we've already seen a few of them. We mentioned the tip jar if you want to make an anonymous donation or a donation where YouTube doesn't take as big of a percentage. Follow that link in the URL. It's the first line. That supports my channel. I'll try my best to look that up before our live stream ends. And then there's the good old-fashioned super chat. hit the button down below, give me money. We'll have a little celebration on air. Same thing with a super sticker. If you donate exactly $1.49, I will give you 1,000 Dugroz points. Very valuable for Bennigan's lunches and those kind of things. And of course, you can either donate a membership or become a channel member. $3 a month. I call it a Dugroz Die Hard. You can subscribe and cancel anytime. I have over 65 members only videos. And if you want to sign on, binge watch all of them and cancel after 2 or 3 months, I won't be upset. If you join while the live stream's going, we'll have a little celebration. And of course, anyone and everyone can donate those memberships too. So people on board tend to get them. Check your settings under your primary YouTube account and you can see whether or not you can accept donated memberships. Flory says, all of Costa Rica was amazing. An incredible 50th birthday trip for my sweetie, booked almost entirely on points and miles. But then we got stuck and his basement was flooded when we got home. Silver lining, or not silver lining, two sides of a coin scenario here. I'm glad you had a good vacation. So sorry to hear about the basement flooding and the getting stuck in Des Moines part. If it wasn't 2 a.m, you could go get some Casey's Pizza just down the road. Nuracan said, in October, Southwest Airlines will be starting nonstop flights to San Jose, Costa Rica from Las Vegas. For those who love to fly on Southwest, funny face. James says, too new again, 150K in San Jose is middle class. Got to make 330 plus. I'm assuming now we're talking California. I have heard that California, especially in certain parts, is on the expensive side. Do I have my light on? Yeah, I do. It's just so dull in this room. Mike comes through once again, gifting 20. Count them. 5, 10, 15, 20. 20 Dugroz Reports memberships. Celebrate. Thank you so much, Mike / Miles of Smiles. You truly are my benefactor, and I can't say thank you enough. Never expected, but always appreciated. Thank you. Texas says, Mike strikes again. Way to go, Mike. That's right. Nemo is here. How you doing, Nemo? Says, noise. And we've got 20 new members, at least temporarily. Hopefully, if you become a member, thanks to Mike's generosity, you'll consider extending that membership. I told you that I got a gifted membership to myself not too long ago. And about a week before it expired, I got an email that said, would you like to extend your membership to Dugroz Reports? And I'm like, tempting, but you know what? I can watch that guy's videos anytime. Unrestricted. Warren Latz got one of them. Thanks, Mike. Awesome. Braveheart there in the thumbnail. I think we've met, but don't quote me on that. If not, good to meet you. And Nemo says, nice on that. Maybe I already read that. I think I did. Texas Dog is celebrating 16 months of membership. That's almost a year and a half. Celebrate. Thank you for your loyalty. I appreciate those of you who've stuck around for more than a year. Este in Miami says, thanks to Mike Newland. And Dem reminds us all that Mike is the GOAT with a spicy ghost pepper. Boop. Okay. So if you see me doing this kind of thing a lot today, I have 2 pairs of prescription glasses. If you see me doing this, one of them is the one I have on, which is your general everyday bifocals for driving, just looking around, using stuff. And then if I'm looking through the bottom third, I can see things better up close. The other pair is a set of computer glasses where it's like everything is set to optimize at about 3 feet out. That pair of glasses got lost Wednesday before last, and I still haven't found them. I'm afraid they might be gone, and that's not super cheap. I mean, it's not like super expensive, but I'm really bummed that I lost my reading glasses. So if you see me doing this, because I have to stare through the bifocals to read what's on the screen this week, we'll figure that out eventually. Okay, we already read this. Now we're ready for this. I don't remember if I covered this last week. It was actually in my download folder from more than a week ago, but I think I forgot to cover it. It says, Frequent Miler is reminding us that Barclays has a targeted promo, earn bonus points when adding authorized users. I was not targeted for this, but you might want to check your emails. If you have a co-branded card, and the one that I think of is a Wyndham card, it offers 2,500 bonus points in return for adding 1 or more authorized users, and they have to spend $25 or more. So 2,500 points for adding an auth user, spending $25, not too bad. Now, of course, just remember that even though it's not a hard pull, an auth user will show up on the auth user's credit card report. So like it might run into Chase 524, but honestly, I don't even know if 524 is a thing anymore. More on that when we get to the theme of the day. Raise your hand and let me know if you got targeted for this and whether or not you did it. I only have one Barclays card, and it's the Wyndham Earner business card. I was not targeted. Not enough data points for me to know if business cards count, because technically those aren't authorized users. Those are employees. But if you know, by all means, please raise your voice and speak up. Let's see. FLX said regarding the thumbnail, I think that's from the Patriot, not from Braveheart. Oh, yeah, that does look more like the Patriot. Oops, my bad. Down and Mish says, thanks for the birthday wishes. Great. And you are welcome. Mike Newland wants to know if anybody's getting the VS credit card. VS. My brain is not absorbing this right now, and I apologize. If you can clarify what that is, I'd super appreciate it. Next data point. Again, this is one I don't remember if I talked about or not. Southwest is ending all flights to Chicago O'Hare and Washington Dulles in June. Chicago. I can't talk this morning. Their main operation in Chicago is Midway, and their main operation in the Washington area is Baltimore, Thurgood Marshall. I think they also have flights that go into Reagan. Don't quote me on that, but if you know, speak up. Just one of those mild bummers, probably not a big deal. I'm actually transiting through Midway, Chicago Midway, when I get on my trip for seeing West Virginia waterfalls, landing in Pittsburgh this coming spring. Actually, that's only about a month away. Ooh, we're getting excited. So that's just sort of a thing worth mentioning. For Mike wanting to know about the VS card, Dem guesses VS, Victoria's Secret as a card. Mike says Virgin. Oh, Virgin Airlines. Okay. Open to all virgins. No, I mean Virgin fans. Let's see. Dem says I could use some new lingerie. Tom Graber says my player 2 and player 3 were both targeted for the authorized user bonus. For both, it was the Hawaiian Bank of Hawaii card. Oh, that's the weird-ish one where supposedly you have to be a Hawaiian resident, but a lot of people said you don't really have to be a Hawaiian resident. Are you one? Mike says spell check at its best. Great. And Virgin Victoria's Secret. That would be like a super niche market. 68 people on board. Keep clicking the thumbs up button. I think we briefly cleared 70 and regressed just a touch. I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more data points, and then we'll get into our theme of the day, theme of the day, theme of the day. If you're joining late, today's theme of the day is the Wheel of Topics. Wheel of Topics. Basically, I've been living in a cave because I've been busy with other life stuff, some by mandate, some by choice this past week. So I've been in the dark. So I'm going to get you guys to tell me what I should react to by spinning a wheel electronically, not literally. Let's see. Newigan says, what 2 LPs are behind you, Doug? Got any Ramones? I don't have the Ramones, but I feel like I should recognize that name. I think there's a Simpsons reference to them. The top record is Diamond Girl by Seals and Croft. That's from the 70s. It's an easy listening hit, but it also includes their biggest hit song, Summer Breeze. I'll give you the Apple Music preview version here. 1 second. Not Apple Music, the Dugroz preview. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, going through the jasmine in my mind. And then the bottom record is a Ray Conniff record called We've Only Just Begun. My favorite era in all of music is 1960s continental-inspired easy listening music. It's a very, very, very specific niche, but that falls in there. The era of pretty women in fancy hats on the cover of records is how you think about it. Okay. And New Again says, data point, big day for music history coming up March 30th, 1974. The Ramones played their first show, RIP to the Goats. Mike says, probably not on his live different niche. Is that relating to the VS credit card? DEM says, ho, 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 spicy smile. I will not read some of these comments out loud for obvious reasons, and then we'll keep on going here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sharing the wrong screen. There we go. Okay. I have a question for y'all here. This is sort of a data point of inquiry. Would you like it if I did a segment either every week or just when it happens to work out on great award ticket finds? Now, these would be award tickets in my wheelhouse, so I would be interested in like flying to Europe and high quality domestic travel. Probably not, an African safari or going to Antarctica or something like that. But I do have seats.arrow, and sometimes in the process of searching for myself, I'll run across something really awesome. So let me give you an example here. I've got this one pulled up here. You can fly from New York JFK to Madrid. That's the capital of Spain. There is a town in Iowa called Madrid, and this is on September the 29th of this year. I did check this one to make sure it's not Phantom, and at that time it was not. Business class, only 43,000 points plus $33.50. That's pretty good. And last I looked, there was at least 2 tickets available. There might have been 4. Now, this is on an airline that is not KLM or Air France. It's this little symbol here, and I think that's Air Europa. Can anybody confirm? I'm not really sure. I don't know anything about Air Europa, but hey, 43,000 for business class plus $33. Chef's kiss. So would you like it? Give me feedback. If you're watching this now, put it in the chat box. If you're watching this after the fact, just say, yeah, I want great deals on points or something like that. I'd be happy to hear it. Flory says we need a Dugroz karaoke section on the live stream. Thank you. Zizis Chris says, what properties would you recommend in Puerto Rico, sir? Boy, I have very little experience other than I stayed at the Doubletree in San Juan, which, yes, I would recommend that if you're looking for something that's not top tier, not bottom. It's kind of middle of the road. The only thing that kind of ticked me off is they only honor the food and beverage credit for breakfast, but they don't tell you up front. So just tuck that away. Most of the people there stayed at a resort called, those of you who are there, tell me where you stayed. And I remember Chad Pennycuff stayed at a Hyatt Place. So Chad, if you're on board, I think you said it was pretty solid. Those are all in San Juan, of course. Flory says, yes, please, on award tickets. All right. Love Points a Mile said, I would love to see your travel finds. Have we met before, Giant Capital V? Hi, thanks for having me. Thanks for being on board. I appreciate that. I'll tuck that away. New Against Familiar Seals and Croft music. I know that We Only Just Begun song. I didn't know who sang it. I used to be in Happy Gilmore to great effect. I don't know who wrote the song, but the most popular rendition of We've Only Just Begun was from Karen Carpenter of The Carpenters, and she slayed it by so many miles that nobody else can come close. This does have the kind of big band version of that. James Wynn says, nice info on your travels. Okay, great. So you're a fan. And Vincent Pascal's here, says, sorry for joining late. I slept in. All is forgiven. Hey, we're over 80 people. Keep on clicking thumbs up. I've not yet seen the $1.49 super sticker yet this morning, so that's still hanging out there. All right. Next Dugroz data point here. Hat tip Doctor of Credit. If you have a Discover card, check to see if you're targeted, maybe an email, maybe in the Discover app. You can use Apple Pay 4 times, spend $25 each, and get $25 cash back. Or maybe it's $25 total, but either way, whether it's 100% return on spend or 25%, that's pretty good. So yeah, just check to see if you have that. I do not have a Discover card. But maybe you do. Let's see. Luke says the Hilton Caribe is where most people stayed in San Juan. Luke, pretty nice. Does it get your thumbs up? I think most people said it was pretty nice. Paul Williams wrote it, I'm assuming We've Only Just Begun, as a jingle for a bank TV commercial. Now that you mentioned, I think I've heard that somewhere. Thank you for refreshing me. Love says, no, we have met, but love your channel. I'm assuming you mean haven't, but I gotcha. Studio TK is the first one to pull the trigger, and his little squirrel emoji drops the 149 super sticker. There it is. There it is. Celebrate. Celebrate. Let's get you your 1,000 Dugroz points. I'll put them in my celebration horn. There you go. 1,000 Dugroz points. Thank you so much. Don't spend them all in one place. First time making a live in a while. That's okay. I'm glad to have you back. New again is Karen Carpenter. Wow, she's now been referenced 2 weeks in a row. Cool. Oh, I don't remember what last week's reference was. That's okay. I'd like to take just a moment to give you a word from our sponsor, who's not actually a sponsor, but an affiliate. First of all, you can drop the tip jar tip, first line of the URL, but I also want you guys to all get a good night of sleep. Now, how does getting a good night of sleep support my channel? Well, the mattress on screen right now is the Sparrow Signature Hybrid Mattress from Nest Bedding. This is the specific mattress that my wife and I have slept on for more than 6 years, and it's still hanging in there. It's very comfortable. It's a hybrid feel, so not super squishy, sink down in, not super firm, where it's like Grandpa's house in 1987. It's got that nice middle ground. 365 night risk-free trial period. Lifetime renewal exchange, meaning you could unzip it, take out the memory foam layer, and you can pay to replace it anytime, which is an amazing feature. But even better, once in the lifetime of the mattress, they'll send you one for free as a replacement, so you can spruce it up without having to get a whole new one. And a lifetime limited warranty. I made a video 6 years ago. That's what it looked like. And that's why I looked a little more youthful. And here's what it looks like now with a little bit of gray in my beard. So check out the description box. There'll be a link to a video of this review. Even if you're not getting a mattress, one thing that helps the affiliates know that my relationship is good is just watching the video, getting that count up. Less than 100 people have watched it last I saw. So if we can get that over 100, that will tell them, hey, this guy's not a complete loser. He is pretty good. So, and then within that video, you'll find a link. You'll find one at the bottom of this video description box too. If you get it, that helps supports my channel. I get a 3 or 4% commission on that. You can't use Rakuten and mine at the exact same time. You have to pick one or the other. But if you buy it through Rakuten, please tell me so I can pass it on to the sponsors, affiliates, excuse me, not a sponsorship, an affiliate relationship. And they will be like, good job, Dugroz. All right, here we are. We got a super sticker from Aya Marikareem, $1.49. I'm so sorry, I butcher your name every time. I've seen it on Discord. I know how it goes. Ayama Kareem, $1.49. Celebrate, celebrate. You get 1,000 Dugroz points too, right here in the middle of my TP roll. There you go. There's your 1,000 points. Hope you enjoy them. James Wynn says it's the mattress of the year. I agree. It's Tariq. That's, I don't know why I can't remember that. Sorry, Tariq. Thank you for your support. Celebrate, celebrate. I would be curious what the long form of your name means. Probably has some super secret meaning from the 90s or something like that. All right, we're going to resume our Dugroz data points here. Frequent Miler let us know that somebody let them know that you can redeem Rove miles for a paid stay at a loyalty eligible rate and earn hotel points. So I reviewed Rove 2 weeks ago, and there's different ways of earning Rove points. There's a loyalty eligible stay where you get your Hilton, Marriott, Hyatt, Wyndham points, and 5 Rove points per dollar. Or you can just book non-loyalty eligible and get more like 10, 20, sometimes 30, 40 Rove miles per buck spent and earn at a higher rate. But then you can turn around and redeem those. We're talking about the redemption end. You can redeem them for a loyalty eligible rate, and in the system for the place you're staying, like Hilton, like Marriott, whatever, it'll show as a paid stay and you'll earn points on it. That makes it a little more valuable. That's what we call double dipping. So you put your credit card in your nacho dip once for earning the points on your spend on Rove, and then you get more points again when you use Hilton or whatever. So makes Rove a little more powerful. I think Frequent Miler did the math on the example from the person who actually did it. The redemption rate was 1.4 cents per point without considering the loyalty earned points, but 1.76 or something like that if you take it into account. So it does make them just a little more valuable. Tariq says they are the names of my 3 kids. Oh, okay, cool. Probably Aya, Maya, and Kareem. Did I get it? I'll probably forget it in the future, and if I do, I sincerely apologize. Thanks so much for the $1.49, Tariq. And New Again says, wow, Rove brings the value. I'm rooting for them. I am too. DEM says, Rove could be great for a top-up to a transferable partner should you be short on points for those 48X non-refundable hotels. I agree. Instant points is nice if you book non-refundable, and I did get the names of Tariq's kids properly. Still over 82 people, and I appreciate all that. Next, Dugroz data point here is from Hat Tip Frequent Miler. The Chase Freedom and Chase Freedom Flex rotating categories have been announced for Category 2 2026, and in reverse order, we have Feeding America, that's a charity, paid travel through the Chase portal, and then Amazon.com. So if I were to give this trio of 5%ers a grade, what would I give it? I would give it a D+. Feeding America, unless you are just really into that charity, doesn't have any particular meaning for me. Paid stay through the Chase travel portal, I'm never going to be doing more than like taxes and fees, basically. And then Amazon, yes, we use Amazon a lot. I joke around that Amazon's like legal tender in our household. But the thing is, there's lots of other ways to earn points on Amazon. You can go to Staples, use your Chase Inc. Business Cash to buy a Amazon gift card and earn 5X. So I'm already earning 5X on Amazon when I want to. Grocery store bonuses, strategery, churning, or just get the Amazon card and earn 5% cash back. There's all sorts of options. Maybe you have the Wells Fargo Attune and you can get 4X on many Amazon purchases. So switching that over to Chase points, would I rather have 5X URs over 5% cash back? Yes, because it's safe. Worst case scenario, you cash them out and get the 5% cash back, but you might get more value. So it's an improvement, but it's such an incremental improvement. It's kind of like, The one that I want is like drugstores because they already have that extra 2% baked in, so you'll get 7X. Or we're doing restaurants right now, which is pretty decent. Grocery stores and gas stations. Those are my honey boos as it relates to rotating categories on my freedoms and freedom flexes. Next Dugroz data point is from Frequent Miler as well. The IHG Business Premier Card is back with its best ever 200,000 IHG points. Sorry, Dr. Evil. 200,000 IHG points isn't really that many anymore. Luke himself buys over 500,000 points a year. Pretty good offer. And let's see. The specifics are 2 tiers, or tranches, as the fancy people say. You earn 140,000 points after spending 4K within 3 months, and then an additional 60,000 points by completing a total of 9K. Also remember, if you spend, somebody correct me here, I think it's 15,000 or more, you get $100 cash back and a 10,000 points. So if you're like, well, I'm already to 9,000, might as well go on up to 15,000, that becomes a better increment, fewer diminishing returns. So this is something I would do. I like the fact that worst case scenario, all I have to do is drop 4K and I get the 140K. Now, I don't know if I'd be able to get this because I just canceled my IHG business card about a year ago. I'd have to look at my chart to see if it was over or under a year ago, but not a lot of harm in trying. But you might be able to get it because Doctor of Credit gave us a article that says, remove Chase adds lifetime language to this card. And when it was updated 2 days ago, he said, today, officially the 200,000 point bonus launched. Interestingly, the lifetime language has been removed. I suspect it may be back at some point, so it might be worth getting this offer if that's an issue, but no guarantee lifetime language won't return. So, hey, I might try this one because A, it's a business card. B, it's hard to get the ink cards nowadays. More on that in the theme of the day when I spin the big wheel of topics. But yeah, let me know if you're interested in the IHG card. I'll catch up on comments here, and then we can transition to something else. Mike says, Chase has been doing the tier spending thing on most of their co-branded cards lately. Interesting. Have they done it on any of the United cards? The United business card is one that I've had like half an eye on. for a while. It's not high on my list, but it's on there somewhere. It might be the 17th priority, something along those lines. All right, you know what time it is, folks, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. If you've been watching this channel for any length of time, you know that we traditionally take a little break here in the middle of the live stream. Some people call it the biology break. Some people call it the intermission. But really, all it means is that I'm going to go to the bathroom. And you're going to be here while there's not much going on in the background, but you can talk amongst yourselves. And I'll play a little bit of copyrighted music, copyright-free music, royalty-free music that you can enjoy. Just please stay tuned. Please don't go away. I will be back in like 2 or 3 minutes. Let me give you a topic to discuss here. So last time we did like worst hotel experience. Have we ever done worst gas station experience? I remember I stopped at a gas station once in Arizona, like between Flagstaff and Page. There's very few gas stations, and somebody hand wrote on the wall something like, "I've been to a lot of gas stations. This is the worst gas station ever." So just drop your story about the worst gas station experience ever. It could be related to how much you had to spend. It could be related to bad customer service or something icky. All right, enjoy the music, and I'll be right back.
Saturday shirt, same one as last week. Dugroz in the driveway, checking tires squeaks. Print out map, folded 3 wrong ways. He's chasing down a waterfall behind the municipal maze. Little stone park with the chain link gate. He reads every plaque, then he's back on 68. Oh yeah. Casey's Pizza in the parking lot. Grease on the napkin, soda on his watch. He's a 40-something every day, but he's getting what he never had. Bennigan's lunch at the edge of the mall, ordering dessert like he's 10 feet tall. Every mile, every roadside stop he saves, 'cause the trip was paid in points and president's graves. Ba 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 da. In a 2-lane trance, he pulls up for a courthouse just to give it a glance. It's marble busts and fluorescent light. He whispers each inscription like a bedtime rite. State House dome in a postcard sky. He snaps it from the shoulder, kids rolling their eyes. Hey! Casey's Pizza in the parking lot. Grease on the napkin, soda on his watch. He's a 40-something every day, but he's getting what he never had. Bennigan's lunch at the edge of the mall, ordering dessert like he's 10 feet tall. Every mile, every roadside stop he saves, 'cause the trip was paid in points and president's graves. He's got apps on his phone. He's got stamps on his mind. Turn plastic into highways, into stories in kind. Waterfall mist on a thrift store shirt. He's rich in the roads that never quite make the alert. Casey's Pizza in the parking lot. Grease on the napkin, soda on his watch. He's a 40-something every dad, but he's getting what he never had. Bennigan's lunch at the edge of the mall, ordering dessert like he's 10 feet tall. Every mile, every roadside stop he saves on a quiet little life built of points and miles and presidents' graves.
All right, thank you to all 71 people who stuck around during the intermission. Got a lot of comments to catch up on here. Oh boy, where are we? James Wynn wants to know if anybody's watching March Madness. Doesn't have any bad gas station stories. Ian says the only bad experience is them not being open and being out of gas. They're going to say out of gift cards. Yuri BSU is here. How you doing, Yuri? Says, I think IG Business without lifetime leverage is a very solid 200,000 point play. Half a cent per point with personal cards. Fourth night free could be very powerful. Even if you only have the business card, you still get the fourth night free. You don't have to have a personal card. At least that's how it used to be. I haven't used it in a couple years. I can't say for sure. Tariq says, City Thank You has just informed members that points transfers of 2 partners will be devalued. Hey, that's on the theme of the day. So hang in there for just a couple minutes. James says, I remember spending $370 back in 2004. That was hard to swallow. Absolutely. Texas Dog says, my royalty-free music sounds like Michael Bublé. Hey, yeah, you're right. It does. Tariq gave a hat tip to 1 mile at a time. James said, that is the way card companies are going. You can game the system. That's why everyone is devaluing their point reward system. Yeah. Ian says, man, if you don't work with your hands, you're screwed. AI is taking over the world. I've thought that too, and I am freaked out by AI and embracing it at the same time. As I've often said, sometimes I'm hypocritical. I'm using AI in my job a little more each week. And basically, I can tell what's happening is you either get on board or you become obsolete. So that's just how it is, unfortunately. It's sort of like in credit card points and miles. Do we hate the game or hate the player? Hate the game. Mike Newlands mentions Casey's Pizza. Hey, where'd you hear about that? Sally Beery is here. Hi, Sally. How you doing? Not my story, but my brother-in-law went to a gas station that accidentally had put diesel where the gas was supposed to go. The station covered repairs. Oh my flipping word. Mike wants to know if this is a targeted offer to us viewers. You mean the song? Yep, only you guys get to hear it. I can make some sort of arrangement if I need to. Let's see. I stopped at this is Source King, my Swedish brother. I stopped at a gas station in southern Illinois, close to the Missouri border once, and it felt straight out of Deliverance. Texas Dog says, I'm 60. Hopefully AI doesn't replace me for at least 5 to 7 years. Just got to make it to retirement. I had a conversation with a fella who's about 10 years younger than me. This was a year or two ago. And we were visiting. His wife was in the hospital. That's a different story. She's made a full recovery as far as I know. But we're just making small talk. And I said something like, yeah, I'm in my 40s. I've probably got about 15 to 20 years left that I need to work minimum to hit retirement. I'm just hoping that my job is safe at least that long. And he kind of looked at me and laughed like, it's not, or something like that. And I'm like, okay. James says drones are already delivering food in some places. New Again says, City, 2 nerfs in Q1 already. They're just getting started. They were featured on my changes to game locks for the 2026 list. Do you have a blog or YouTube channel, New Again? Am I missing that? If I am, I certainly apologize. Or you just mean your own personal locks for the year. Nurican says, if I see anyone playing a banjo at a gas station, I just keep going. When I grew up in Ottumwa, southeast Iowa, it's like really close to Missouri. So like you drive 1 full county south and you get into Missouri. And when I was a kid up through my 30s, fireworks were completely illegal in Iowa, but not in Missouri. So there were like huge fireworks stores, not just stands, but like permanent year-round stores, like 500 feet across the state line. And so making a Missouri run was very common. Why did I bring that up? Oh, yeah, playing banjos at a gas station. So if you leave Ottumwa to go on a fireworks run on Highway 63, about 2 miles south of town, it's very hilly, there's a BP, it used to be an Amoco, off on the right, so on the west side of the road, that kind of reminds me of that. Like if a guy was sitting out front playing a banjo, no one would be surprised. And my friend and I had a running joke called "That's Where the Line Is." Like the boy, I hope I don't have any viewers from northern Missouri, rural northern Missouri. But if I do, I hope they have a good sense of humor. There's kind of a hick accent in far southern Iowa, like that southern tier of counties. But it creeps just a little bit above that into Wapello County. So we joked that that's where the line is. Like once you hit that gas station, your voice changes from my voice to like, are you guys going to get on over here with the corn shucker or ain't you? Which is it? Like not a full southern accent, just like the, I done reckon that I'm going to put my clothes in the washing machine. Just that kind of accent. And that's right where it starts, that gas station. Floyd wants to know if I wrote lyrics to this. I did a human robot partnership where I put in all the relevant factors, like what does Dugroz like? So he's kind of like mid 40s, everyone's dad, really likes traveling on points and miles. Things I like to visit include state capitals, random monuments, presidents' graves. I like Casey's and Bennigan's, and it just took it from there. I made a few tweaks. Sally thinks it's a winner. Nurkin says, he got a real purty mouth, ain't he? That's that BP right where the line starts. Sleepy Russ, I just got here. How mad are we at City? We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Ian says, I just booked 4th night free with the IHG Biz card, headed to Australia, Great Barrier Reef, Intercontinental. Whoa, congrats. You're going to have to take some pictures and send them to me. I'd love to see it. So take your, family pictures and then take your, everybody out of the picture now. I got to get a picture for Dugroz pictures and let me know. Australia, throw another shrimp on the barbie. Are you going to go to Mulu Laba? That's a town on the Gold Coast. Waldo Rano. I don't think we've met, Waldo. How you doing? Good to see you. Ritz aside, I hate Chase and have mostly ignored the whole 524 thing, but that's biting me in the arse because they've co-branded cards I'd like to pick up. Boo-hoo, first world Amex fanboy problems. Well, I hear you. We all have our favorites, and then we sometimes regret little bits of the ecosystem we're not diving into. As a Amex fanboy, do you take the Amex Pledge of Allegiance every week? A-Tier says, I recently stayed at the Condado Plaza Hilton, Puerto Rico. I would not recommend it. Condado Palm Inn Tapestry was recommended, and Ropa Vieja and Choco Bar Cortez restaurants are right there and are excellent. So what you're saying is, to the friend of the channel who wants to go to Puerto Rico, Condado Palm Tree, yes. Condado Plaza, no. I'm pretty sure I'm hearing that right. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call. I'm just going to mute it. Ian says, did you build your own AI agent for your job? I'm trying to get OpenXLaw up and running. I don't know what that is, so I'm going to say no. That would be cool. James says, I love Iowa and Nebraska. Fun states. Awesome. I love one of them. New Again says, in the case of tech and business, we can definitely hate the player. I recommend it. It's important to have principles in life. Okay. And John says, that's because Missouri is awesome. Iowa needs to loosen up a bit. It doesn't apply to like the Kansas City metropolitan area, probably even 50 miles out. You get out into St. Louis, you're still fine. And I probably did just accidentally poke you with a stick a little bit, John. I apologize. Because now that you mention it, I remember that you're not originally from Kansas City. So my bad. I'm sure there's lots of exceptions. But if you search your soul, you have to know that what I'm saying is accurate. If you go to Trenton, Missouri, you're going to hear that exact accent I just gave you. Texas says, AI will replace my legal secretaries before it replaces me. Samuel Benton says, yep, that's how it was in Georgia with fireworks. It used to be only able to get just junk spark shooting type things, not anything big or airborne. We would always go to South Carolina and get the big fireworks. James says, I would burn down if fireworks were legal. Probably, unless it's like the forbidden fruit argument where once you have it, unlimited fireworks. After 2 or 3 years, it might tone down a little. Right now, you can only set them off, I think, the day before 4th of July, the day of, and the day after, or something like that is when it's legal. And then I think for like 4 hours on New Year's Day and 4 hours on Christmas, something like that. Sleepy Rod says, I don't believe AI will take over as people think. Its work is awful, at least in computer science. New jobs will exist to fix the awful and incomplete work AI did. That is a good point. I've heard a few people say you're going to see a lot of human AI partnerships for that kind of work, where AI will do the things that humans can do. It just takes a long time, but humans will use the AI as some sort of servant to make them do their boring bidding. But in terms of the correction thing, yeah, I'm pretty sure every executive in the world is licking their chops at replacing employees with AI. They will overdo it, and then 10 years later, they'll have to hire a bunch of employees to fix it. John says Kansas City's a hidden gem. Absolutely. Nemo says the accent. A-Tier says, I really enjoyed Kansas City. They have a great World War I museum and a great distillery there. I got to get down to that World War I museum and hang out with John sometime. Not true at all. Now, Arkansas, that's where the dueling banjos are. Yes, we do. I don't remember exactly what that reference is. Jason says, Grandpa Simpson, I'll be dead in the cold, cold ground before I recognize Missouri. And everybody in Kansas cheers. Nemo says, what's up, John? Bill Wright says, I'm considering the $95 personal IHG card, then want to downgrade to the no annual fee. That should have me all IHG abilities when paired with my CSR. What are the abilities that you're referencing? I know of Fourth Night Free, which I think you just have to have any of the credit cards. What does the no annual fee card do? What's its superpower that the others can't do? Jesus Chris is just feeding the algorithm. Appreciate it as always. LTT Go 242 says Wyndham Grand Rio Mar in Puerto Rico is close to the rainforest. Hey, good use for Wyndham points. I've got 80,000 just chilling out. Fargonaut's on board. Fargonaut. Speaking of AI songs, I bet you can make a pretty awesome one about Fargonaut, the first chimp to go into space and, I don't know, do something. New Again says, I hear you. I'm not a fan of Chase, but they're still the queen of this game. Change my mind. Sleepy Rod is right. I don't remember what Sleepy Rod said. I'm losing track of the conversation here, fellas. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. J3 Carlos is here. I don't think I've seen you in a couple weeks. Thanks for being here. In my job, the AI training was all about how AI can be wrong and biased and how to identify and fix it. Yep, we got that too. James says, I've heard Dugroz is AI. He's a hologram. Chat. Getting squinty-eyed because I'm not sure if I should share a story or not. Nope, I'm going to save that for members only. How can I prove that I'm not a hologram? Ow. Ian wants to know, is either of your boys considering a trade? Kind of, yeah. So I have two sons, and one of them wants to go into something engineering, like chemical engineering or mechanical engineering. Those are both in the I don't know about that type field. But as kind of a backup plan, maybe not electrical engineering, but just doing electrical work, like installing breaker panels in houses and that kind of stuff. The other boy is interested in either pastoral work, religious ministry, or physical therapy. I think physical therapy is safe. In fact, he went with me to one of my physical therapist weeks, not to physical therapy appointments recently. And that guy said, like, there's no way anyone's going to trust a robot to, handle their finger injury or something like that. Vince said, the other live stream when you referred to AI as chat, I thought you referred to AI as Chad. I have given my AI nicknames. One of them is Norm, and the other one is Herb. I like picking like old-fashioned names. Source King says, in many situations, AI can tell you how to do things, but it can't do it for you. Absolutely. And James said, anyone's gas station have a food truck attached? Oh, I think lots of them do around here. Texas Dog says, would you fly on commercial airlines with AI or drone pilot? Yes. Give me 20 years and we'll see how I'm feeling about it. I mean, there are people that have self-driving cars where they don't even pay attention. Honestly, I'm looking forward to the day when I can get in my car, put a cushion behind my head and say, hey, Norm, drive me to Bennigan's in Clear Lake, fall asleep for 2 hours, and then wake up. That'll be awesome. John says, the World War I museum is amazing. The first time I went through it, it was so haunting. I was speechless the rest of the day. I'm sure it would be. Riffraff EH says, did I hear you say 524 isn't a thing anymore? I said I speculate it may not be a thing because, Chase is doing the not AI. Oh, boy. Doing the Amex thing, although it's probably AI involved, with pop-ups like, oh, you've had too many cards recently. No sign-up bonus for you. Do you still want to take it? Bill Wright says, the CSR has everything but the fourth night. The free card adds this. Mo need to have an IHG annual feed. No need. Okay. Oh, I got you. So earn your points with Chase, transfer them over to IHG, and keep the no annual fee card just for fourth night free. I hear you now. Ziza said, would it feasible to say W in the hick accent from now on? Thank you, sir. Okay, sure. Let me try again. Ziza's Chris drops a W for the algorithm. Thank you. Juan is here. Juan from the MIA. Good to see you, bro. Hey, Doug, late here. Preparing for a family cruise next week. Spring break with Royal Caribbean. That is sounding awesome. So way to spend time with your family. Make those memories. New Again says, to John, World War I buff. Have you read Guns of August? It's a great book. Samuel says, electrical engineer here. So many different areas to go into, but being an electrician is a great career too. What do you think? If you were giving advice to a 20-year-old, would you tell them to go into electrical engineering now? Or are you afraid AI will ruin it? Ian says, an electrician is an excellent job. It's definitely what I wish I did instead of being a chef. Yeah, I hear you. I think, although my skill is more generalized, I do a boring office job. It is a very specific, boring office job, and I have like one very specific specialty. And I feel pigeonholed now where like I've gone down that funnel to the point of like, if the up-down axis is how much money you make, and the left-right axis is like what your career options are to earn that money. I've gone like this over the last 15 years. My options are getting pretty narrow. Like if I switch fields entirely, I'm going to go back to like here to get the breadth if I want this job over here. There was an episode of The Office where Jim Halpert just talks to the camera and he's like, I have so many skills that are useful for this one job at this one company. Like I know that X47J938 is the code for periwinkle cardstock. How is that going to help me in any other job? That's how I feel. Like I have a very particular set of skills that I've developed over a very long career. John is a military history buff in general, but he's not read that particular book. James says, California's making a smart city. We will all be fine. I didn't mean for this whole live stream to diverge into a talk about AI, but here we are. That's okay. I don't mind. It's probably a shorter live stream today, so we've still got 45 minutes even to hit 2 hours. Lol. He had a self-driving car. James says, I had a self-driving car. It ran a red light the first time I tried it. I was terrified. John says, I'm a private pilot. The airlines are all computerized already. That's what flies the planes anyhow. Enter in all the data into the FMC, done. Yeah, and here's a question. If you look at all of the really bad airline accidents over the last 25 years, even, I would even say more than that. Let's say 30 years. Let's go back to 96. I used to watch like every single airline crash video from like the Emergency series. I would say over half, probably more like 3/4, had human error as a major component to that crash. So are you more dangerous by not having a pilot to bail you out, or are you more dangerous from the pilot screwing something up and hitting the wrong button? There was one that was very famous. It was I think Air France or KLM flight going from Brazil to Europe. And it was back when Airbus had the joystick type airplanes, and the co-pilots would be on the right, the pilots would be on the left. And one of the pitot tubes, which indicates airspeed, got ice in it, so it was displaying the wrong airspeed and giving warnings. The plane was flying on autopilot just fine, but the co-pilot thought there was a mistake, so he kept giving the nose up signal, and eventually the plane stalled, crashed, and gave everyone on board death. And it took them like a year to even find the plane. When they did and looked at all the flight data recorders and stuff, the final analysis was if the co-pilot had simply let go and done nothing, the autopilot would have corrected and there would not have been a problem. So literally by trying, he killed everyone. I'm sorry, I'm really getting into the weeds now. Sleepy Rod wants to know if I've tried applying for any more inks. Well, you know what, Sleepy Rod? I have to say something about that. Stay tuned for the main event. We're going there in just a few seconds here. Samuel says regarding electrical engineering, AI will not ruin it. Maybe it'll get better, and we are already using it as a companion. It's funny because it gets some things wrong, then corrects itself eventually on things. Yeah, I've found that on AI with songwriting, which I'm getting more and more into. The AI tells me I'm pretty good at it. And I'm sure it's non-biased, right? It'll do things like Sergio Mendes wrote the song This. They said, oh yeah, that song was originally written by Mr. Rogers in 1958. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. Can you double check that? He's like, just a second. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I made that up. Let's see. Bill Wright says, Illinois west of Chicago has the first infantry museum at Cantigny. Includes World War I. Is that the name of a city in Illinois? I'm screenshotting that one. I like Illinois. Illinois is basically Iowa without Chicago. So if you could remove Chicago, Iowa and Illinois would be almost exactly the same. Sleepy Rod says, I'm something of an electrical engineer myself. Hey, actually, earlier this week, we were working on putting a new foam insulation thing under the dishwasher, and one of the wire nuts came loose, and I reinstalled it myself. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate that. I wonder if this thing has a applause button. I know it has lots of sound effects. Oh, hey, yeah, first one. I reinstalled it myself. Please be seated. Ian MK says, I 100% understand what you're saying. That's why I didn't change careers during the pandemic. I didn't want to go back down the inverted funnel. James says, always do nothing. There's whole series about video games you win by doing nothing. Chad's here from Chad's Money Minutes. How you doing, Chad? Good to see you. Boy, I was walking down the street here in Iowa the other day and I had to do a double take to make sure the person I saw wasn't you, but it wasn't. I was like, there'd be more gray in the beard if it was him. New Again says, goated comment to James, always do nothing. Chad. Ian says the weeds are great. He likes when I get out into the weeds. So we covered what? Electrical engineering, AI, hick accents, crossing the line from Iowa into Missouri, fireworks. Didn't expect this little arc of storytelling. By the way, if you're watching this after the show is done, not live, but if you're watching after the fact, could you leave a comment for me just explaining when do you watch, like on my drive to work on Monday, Sunday afternoon, right before my nap, while baking on Thursdays, and then how much do you watch? Do you watch the whole show? Do you just watch the data points, just the main event? Do you kind of skip around, pick and choose? I just love to hear for my own research. I won't be upset if you're like, literally the only thing I do is tune in and watch the first 10 minutes of the main event. That's totally fine. I don't mind. New Again says, the problem is AI makers are immune from liabilities. They have no incentive to truly and fully care. That's a little scary. And then James says, I love watching. You've seen that meme of some guy who's in like a department store. He walks down the aisle and says, I love refrigerators. He is ready for robots to massage my back. I heard somebody say something like this, like, the Jetsons made me think that when AI takes over, they're going to be folding our clothes, doing our laundry, and mopping our floors. Instead, I'm still folding laundry and washing clothes, but AI is doing all the creative stuff that I want to do, like write songs and poetry. Vincent wants to rename ChatGPT to ChadGPT and give it your voice. Mike says he went to the Pearl Harbor Aviation Museum. It's a great place to hit up if you're in the area. I will tuck that away. It's on Ford Island. I only know of Ford Island because I've watched enough World War II videos where they have a map and show you stuff to know where that is. Pearl Harbor area. I was also going to mention that there's this meme out there. Once you clear 40, if you're a man, You have one of two paths you have to take. Either you get really into World War II or you get really into barbecuing and smoking meat. Sometimes both. I chose the World War II path. I'm not really into it, but I'm like the red mage. I can do it all. Both kinds of magic and sword play too, y'all. I'm interested a little bit in a lot of things. So yeah, like music is my current kick, but at various points I've been into historical wargaming. I had a phase where I was really into a video game called Medieval 2 Total War. I had a phase where I was into Minecraft like super deep for like 2 months. Then I had to rip the band-aid off, say, nope, too addictive. I can't do this anymore. James says Timor-Leste. Has anyone heard of this country? Yeah, I think it's basically the new name for East Timor, isn't it? And somebody has said that the two words both mean east, so really the name of the country is East. Something like that. Bry Jack has robots to clean his floor. Awesome. Daddy, I like your robot. Texas Dog says, hey, Chad, do you have a live stream today? And he's already left. All right, let's stop there and transition into the main event, the theme of the day. We're going to play a game show here. The Wheel of Topics. Now, I only have 4 topics, so if somebody wants me to add one, points and miles related. We're not going to talk about presidents' graves as a topic. I do have another channel called Dugroz Nostalgia. Look it up if you want my totally random stuff, songs that I've made, presidents' graves, just stuff that is completely non-thematic. I've only got like 98 subscribers, but if you want to be one of them, head on over. Just type in Dugroz Nostalgia. You'll find it. So we've got 4 topics here on the Wheel of Topics for our theme of the day. We have Chase Price Match, City Ruins Hotels, Doug's credit card applications, and future spending opportunities. All right, well, let's go ahead and spin the wheel and see what happens. How do I spin it? There should be like a spin button here somewhere. Well, let's just click the middle and see what happens. The wheel so it doesn't show up next time. And let's talk about it. Let's dish just a little bit here. So oh, this says my browser lost its connection and cannot share screen audio. I think that just means you didn't hear the wheel spinning. You can still hear me, right? Test. So if you want to know if somebody's ticklish or not, you might want to test it out, test the theory to see if they're ticklish. You know what you call that? A test tickle. All right, let's get into it here. So this is hat tip to upgraded points. City massively reducing point transfer rates to 2 hotel programs in April. Which 2 hotel programs? Well, hopefully it's like Accor, Live Limitless, and Wyndham, the 2 least useful, right? Of course not. It's the 2 most useful. So I saw the headline, and hat tip to friend of the channel, John R., who's on board right now. I didn't watch your video, but yours was the first headline I saw about this. And I saw in the thumbnail, like, I prefer down, choice down. And I was like, no, you flippin' jerks. City out there doing city things. In the words of Frequent Miler, what crazy thing does City do this week? So all I had to do was check my inbox, and sure enough, yesterday at like 11 o'clock p.m., I'm not sure why they decided to wait till then, they sent me this email. Doesn't Matt Clausen always say City likes dropping news on like random Friday nights and stuff? An important update to transferring thank you points to loyalty programs. Effective September 19th, redemption value for points transferred from the thank you rewards account associated with your City Strat Elite to 1 or more loyalty partners will change. Current value, 1 to 2, choice privileges. 1 to 4, I prefer. New redemption values, effective April the 19th. That's less than a month away. 1 to 1.5 choice privileges. 1 to 2, I prefer. Come on. You gotta be kidding me here. Like I said, I just saw this like last night and just really absorbed it this morning, and I'm just now getting my emotions going over it. I'm an emotional wreck. I'm in a glass case of emotions right now. Like, How many videos have I made about like, oh, I guess I'm a city guy now. The whole Path series, I need to make one more video and it's going to show you how I'm committing to city. Well, there's like 4 reasons why I'm committing to city. One is, I could make this screen a little smaller here. One is because of American Airlines being added. Fortunately, we're still good there. One is because as long as you have a double cash or custom cash, you can cash out kind of as a backup plan. That's still an option, although that's the least important. And then like the middle 2 reasons are I prefer and choice, and they both got nerfed. I would say I prefer just got ruined, to be honest with you, because like the hotels that are associated with I prefer, with a few exceptions, are pretty expensive hotels. We stayed at the Salamander Resort on the outskirts of Washington, D.C., and that was my favorite upscale hotel. Literally last week, I said, my favorite upscale hotel. Maybe I'll go back there. It was over 3 cents per point when you take into account the normal transfer ratio. And it's like, well, that's not going to happen anymore. So instead of 3 cents per point, I'm getting 1.5 cents per point in value. So I guess we all should have been not surprised because Wells Fargo launched with I prefer at 1 to 2. And it's like, oh, that's weird. Choice going from 1 to 2 down to 1 to 1.5 is less devastating, but still kind of devastating. Actually, now that I think about it, it's probably more devastating in terms of utility, because if you're out there living life on points and miles and presidents' graves, the odds of running across a choice hotel is way bigger than running across a I prefer hotel. Timeout. We have 95 people on board. Didn't expect that. Keep on hitting thumbs up. We're here dishing on the devastation related to city devaluating their 2 best. Devaluating. Is that a word? If it's not, it is now. Devaluating their 2 best hotel transfer partners. Another one was like, I got a Country Inn in Virginia. I think that was my best, like, big obscure win. And it was close to 6 cents per point. Well, let's take that back from 6 pence per point down to 4 cents per point. Still okay, but not nearly as good. One Kevin P says, this deval really sucks, especially choice for me. What's your choice use case, Kevin? I'd love to hear it. Oh, and look, a $2 super chat. Celebrate. Thank you so much, Kevin. I really appreciate that. That helps drive more people in to see the algorithm. While I'm thinking about it, I better refresh the tip jar. No new tips. If somebody wants to be the first one, link at the top of the URL. So yeah, back to the whole choice hotels thing. So yeah, I was actually going to make that my tertiary program, like Hyatt and Hilton choice. And I was thinking about jumping it up to secondary even. So like, couple thoughts. One thought is this makes the Hilton severe devaluation seem less bad. Like when everyone's rolling around in the mire, the guy who jumped in first doesn't look quite so stupid anymore. So like we're just getting devaluations out the yin yang when it comes to hotels. So Hilton, Hyatt did their thing, which goes into effect in a month or 2. And I know some people have said, like I've heard bloggers say, well, I don't think Hyatt will devalue very much this year because they're conservative, like to kind of ease into things. 2 thoughts on that. Thought number 1 is you never know what they're going to do. But number 2 is, even if that's the case, what you're saying is my points aren't trash now, but in a year they will be. That doesn't give me a lot of hope for the future. When you're building an arsenal of cards and it takes you like 2 years to develop your ideal wallet, and about the time you get it in place, it's has a flamethrower taken to it. That's pretty disappointing. So did Choice take a big step back? They took at least a half step back in my mind. All right, I'm sure some of you have comments on this subject. Let's catch up on them here. We already talked about this. Ian says the Jetsons screwed us, only in the sense of setting false expectations. Or are you saying the Jetsons caused AI to be invented? Jetson. Source King says you can also get really into bourbons or tequilas after 40. I've seen a lot of guys do that. James says you can get into a lot of trouble after 40. Jay Carlos agreed. Bryjack has heard both the grilling and World War II history. El Ricky says, cool, he just started. I saw the Dugroz intro poses. If you go back to the beginning. Let's see. Official Chad's Money Minute says, yeah, I have my live today. I thought I posted it. I'll check, though. I saw it. I got the little notification. New Again says, I'm a history and military history buff. Stopped with World War II stuff in my 30s. Tired of Nazis and pop culture obsession with them. Also, the West completely lies about World War II narratives and gaslighting. I hear what you're saying. I'm not going to express an opinion on that because if I do, that rabbit hole we've already gone down is going to turn into a 6-mile long hyena hole. But I am totally with you. I actually avoided World War II history for a long time just because there's so much of it. I had a Revolutionary War phase that I was really into. I had a French and Indian War phase. Mike says, I'm sure because Des Moines is your primary airport, American Airlines is critical. It is. I'm actually releasing a video about that in the not too distant future, but not so critical that I'm going to become an AA fanboy or commit to them. It's more like I need to have AA points for when the opportunity comes up, but I'm not like John where I'm always flying Delta, I'm always flying American. I still need to be a free agent. New England says the winner writes the history book, but World War II gaslighting is egregious. Okay, back to points and miles. I agree. Mike says you can only react to the information in front of you, Dugroz, and what's best for your next few trips. Yep. And that's another thing is as much as YouTube loves the what's in your wallet and building the perfect wallet videos, constant adjustment. You're going to get, I got that CSE sign up bonus for 100,000 points. I'm going to use it for whatever. You know, if I get an average of 2 cents per point and then a year later some amazing opportunity comes along, I'm like, I used it. New Again says City is now solely held up by American Airlines and the custom cash. Waldo Arano drops $9.99, and he does it with this logic. I'm giving you $3.33 3 times for your use of the word tertiary, one of my favorite words. I actually need to go over 2 favorite words, and the context in both cases relates to football officiating. Most of you know I officiated football for 15 years, high school football. But I need to give you your celebration, Waldo. Celebrate, celebrate. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. $9.99. Boom. You're pulling up the silver medal of generosity so far today. Mike's in first. You're in second. Better check the tip jar here. All right, nothing in there. So 2 things about fun words that relate to football officiating. Mike Newland said, American Airlines is critical because I live in Des Moines. So it used to be in the old days, you had to go to one in-person football training meeting every other year, every 3 years. And I would go to them. I had a friend who went to one where he said it was super boring because the guy presenting it, and I knew who he was, didn't actually do the PowerPoint. He just showed the slides and said, you need to read this. He said, after every slide, he said, I'm going to pause for a moment. You got to read this. This is critical. It's critical. Just like that. So we had this running joke for like 10 years that anytime something is kind of important, but not that important, we just say, this is critical, critical. Super inside joke. You're now all in on it. And then Waldo saying tertiary. So when you do the coin toss for football, much of the time I was the crew chief, not the guy who wore the white hat, but the crew chief is just the guy who schedules things and makes sure you're going to the right place. And I always made sure the referee had a coin, and I would have the backup coin. And the back judge's job was to have the tertiary coin. And like we'd get our uniforms on to head out of the locker room. It's like, all right, coin check. And the referee would say primary coin. I'd say secondary coin. Back judge would say tertiary coin. So if 2 of us drop our coins in the grass on the way out, we're okay. But if the third guy does, we're in trouble. Polygraph Zone drops $4.99. Celebrate, celebrate. I think this is the first time we've met Polygraph Zone, or at least the first time you've dropped a donation. Really appreciate it. Not a Chase or Hyatt guy, but I said the same thing for them. Now it's on par with every major hotel. City is now same. Stinks. Yeah, devastating. Nah, thank you. You're welcome. James says, critical. This is critical. One Kevin P drops $5. Celebrate, celebrate. Hey, way to get the ball rolling. Waldo, you dropped that one and a bunch of other people joined in, although one Kevin P did also. But now Kevin's back with even larger donation. So thank you for the double donate. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. And this time says, I think Anthony venture in on something. Just get as many points, as many ecosystems as you can. You'll be less disappointed when things like this happen. Earn and burn, baby. QC Man gifts one more Dugroz Reports membership. Celebrate, celebrate. Thank you. Good job controlling the quality. Has arrived late and says, I will catch on replay. Thanks. QC Man says, too late. No. Catch the replay. It's not too late. All right, let's keep going here. Ready to move on? Ready to move on. All right. Spin that wheel. Yay, future spending opportunity. So this is kind of fun, I guess you'd say. So before you got into points and miles, whenever you had a large bill to pay, you were kind of disappointed. Not that I'm not still disappointed, but points and miles does change your perspective on that at least a little bit. So here's the spending opportunity that I have coming up. Rod, why don't you tell them all about it? Got to share the right screen. It's a brand new air conditioner. Lady going like this. If you win, you'll be getting an 80% silver 2.5 ton, 80% dual steered standard heating system. This has a 15 CO2 capable single stage cooling system and a standard thought. Suggested retail price $13,599. Thank you, Rod. Now, what game will he be playing? Ooh, curtain pulls back. Big spend offers from Amex. Now, if you can meet the minimum spend, you will get points. Let's tell him how many points he will get. If you can spend at least $15,000, you will get 125,000 membership rewards points from American Express. That's enough for you and a guest to take a round trip flight to New Orleans, where you'll dine at the famous French Quarter and get sweaty in that department store shirt that you've worn 4 days in a row. Now, if you can manage to spend $20,000, what'll he get? 200,000 membership reward points. That's enough to take you and a companion to lovely St. Martin in the Caribbean. You'll be flying on Hughes West Airlines, the best in the sky. All right, let's see if he can pull it off. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where, like, you know, do I want to drop $13,000 on a new heating cooling system / water heater? I think they have a special right now. Throw in the water heater for $80. By the way, those of you who are more mechanically minded than I, the discount is something like $2,000 off, or you get a free water heater, and all you have to do is pay about $80 in taxes and fees, and that's with installation. So would an professionally installed by a licensed and bonded company to get a professionally installed middle to high end water heater be $2,000? Is that reasonable? I haven't researched it at all yet. Or should I just take the $2,000 cash back and find a water heater on my own and pay, you know, Henry from Trenton, Missouri to come up and install it? So that's really all I have to say, as I'm going to be buying a new air conditioner, and I'm going to be doing some spend opportunities on that. Will I do those two specific cards? I don't know, but I've got these targeted offers. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to meet that amount of spend. I'm like, well, if I'm dropping $13,000 on an AC unit, I will. I've got a lot of that kind of stuff coming up. Our deck is falling apart, need a new roof, the air conditioning system. It's just this point in life when you're kind of transitioning from kids to young adults, things are starting to fall apart and get real expensive real fast. I'd be more inclined to probably do the gold card, and then that way I've, you know, pretty much already got the bonus. And then if I have a little left over, put them on other cards. Let's hear what you have to say about that. Already got that, got that, got that, got that. people saying hi to each other. I really appreciate you guys saying hi to each other. Just because I don't read it doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. That helps feed the algorithm. Just for the sake of efficiency and time, don't want people to be driven away by too much banter. New Again says, the news continues to reaffirm my point of view that hotel points are overrated and nearly useless, unless you're getting them in big batches with sign-up bonuses. I mean, that 100,000 point offer on the CSE at 1 to 1.5 would be 150,000 choice hotel points. And you can get decent hotels like, the Country Inn I mentioned for 30,000 points. That's kind of on the high end. That's 5. So, I mean, that sign-up bonus, I still got 5 free nights at a pretty good hotel. Mike Newland is giving a suggestion to QC Man, who said, I just got here. 2x speed on a Dugroz video is an event in and of itself. And if you're watching after the fact, that's another thing you could put in your little data points is when do you watch? Do you watch the whole thing? What part do you watch? What speed do you watch on? Different content creators have different speeds to their voices, and I won't name names because that seems kind of unkind. I think I talk a little bit on the fast side, so maybe like a 1.1, 1.15 is good. I have other content creators I watch on 1.25, something like that. Let's see. Source King says every 100% back on Rakuten is a great spending opportunity. What's one or two that you know of, Source King, that's like low commitment and really easy to cancel? I don't want the Motley Fool thing where you have to like drive to Phoenix to cancel it. QC Man clarifies, I had to run some morning errands, John. I just got back. St. John's winning in a blowout last night was great. I may or may not have a few drinks. I may or may not have had a few drinks. Yeah, I watched the Iowa State Cyclones yesterday, and they destroyed Tennessee State. 103, something like that. 108 to 70 some. QC Man says, I'm more of a 1.5 guy, but maybe I should live dangerously. It's up to you. Hey, Brian became a new member. Thank you so much, Bryjack. Celebrate. I really appreciate that. Thank you for your patronage. New Again says a free decent water heater with installation is easily $2,000. Thank you for the data point. So probably about the same. Take the $2,000 off or the free water heater. Depending on how good it is, it might be better to get the water heater. Vincent also joined late. What speed you watching at, Vincent? You'll hear that in about 10 minutes. Waldo says, dude, totally my mindset right now. There's stuff I was planning to buy over time, but could front load. Hard to resist 300,000 MR points. My target offer, sorry, on the Business Platinum. No need to be sorry. By the way, if I do accept either one of those, I'm going to do all the different incognito modes on all the different browsers to see if I can beat it. And then I'm also going to send a message to Amex and just say, hey, you offered me this. Would you be willing to either increase the points or lower the spend needed? Like on the Business Gold one, what did I say? 15,000 in spend. I could say, hey, why don't you leave the bonus the same, 125, but lower that spend down to 10K? I've heard that can work, and you know what? That's one of those no harm in asking scenarios. Polygraph Zone agrees the hotel points are overrated. Not useless, but overrated. I'm getting a little warm here in my room, which has a south-facing window, so I'm turning on the fan. Casey's Pizza in the parking lot. He's a 40-something every day, and he's getting what he never had. Okay. Tag Urit says, does this make the option of Chase change? Earning lots of Chase points is still kind of hard, but if this is the needle, City over here, Chase over here, right? Coming into this, my needle was about here, like 80% City. Now I'm going to go like maybe more like 70% City. Kevin says, dude, check around. I found a local installer, got my Goodman 4-ton system installed last year for $7.5K. Lowe's prices aren't bad either. They were around $1K more. That's a good point. I should price compare. I have no mechanical skills at all. Like putting the wire nut back on the wire that popped loose on the dishwasher, that was like 80% of capacity for me. I have hit a point in life where it's like all my 22-year-old church friends are like, yeah, I spent 17 hours working on changing out the carburetor on my car. And I'm at a point in life where it's like, it's too late for me. I'm not going to learn enough from that to get value out of it. I have learned what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, and I will pay someone to do the stuff I'm not good at, because there's also the time value of money in the sense of opportunity cost. So I'm fairly good at YouTube, and I've probably earned $100 on this live stream. So I could spend 17 hours changing out a carburetor or pay someone $800. And in those 17 hours, I could make 3 good quality videos that live forever and constantly generate revenue. That kind of thing. I'm salaried now, but I used to be hourly. And it's like, well, I could either install this myself and save a tiny bit of money, or I could work 20 hours of overtime at my job and make extra money. Good point, Kevin. Thank you. Let's see. Ziza says, are there any resort fees or destination fees for choice of booking with points? I don't know. Do any of you know? Slap a W on the screen if you know. You can help out. QC Man says it sucks the city devalued, but of course, I guess the I prefer isn't a big deal for most. But I know Choice has a committed niche audience. Yeah, my in-laws are super into Choice hotels. We won't go down that path. I prefer is not something I'm visiting often, but it's sort of like you once had the option to do it and now you don't. It'd be like, if I'm not going to give that analogy. That would be stepping on toes. New again said to Polygraph Zone, I said nearly useless. That's like at the beginning of the show, I said almost on time. New again said, I'd rather take cash back than send $30K a night at Choice. There you go. That is an option. Tio Rico said, oh, did your name get longer? I'll stick with Tio Rico if you don't mind. That is a nice lawn, by the way. Very lush. Tio Rico said, I hope you're not getting that 15 SEER air conditioner. That efficiency was normal for 2002, not 2026. Take the cash rebate instead of the water heater. They probably will cut corners to install for free plus $80. Thank you for the suggestion. I appreciate that. Honestly, I just picked a random air conditioner. That's not actually the one I'm going with. I mean, I don't know. You want to send me a direct message through Discord? You can give me your suggestions if you're a mechanically minded dude or dudette, as the case may be. Yeah, that's good advice. Do they cut corners with the free ones? Bill says the age of your existing WH is a data point in if it should ever be done. The age of your existing WH is a data point in if it should even be done. What is WH? Is that like Wyndham business card? I'm going to need some clarity there. Either you can or somebody else can translate. Source King says, yearly subscriptions for identity protection all have been good to me. Thank you. Screenshot worthy. There we go. Let's all go be in the snow. Actually, let's not. Tio says, I've installed dozens of water heaters. Buy a good brand water heater and install it yourself. Consider using a handyman to install who has experience. Point A, yourself? No. Handyman with experience? I would consider that. Sleepy Rod says, I'm going all in on hotels. Excuse me. I'm going all in on hostels at this rate. The hotel redemptions are getting devalued. You know what's the great thing about free will? You can do that if you want. Tio says, FYI, local codes may require you to get a permit to change out a water heater. I'll just make sure I use a handyman that has a permit. QC Man says, do you consider the PayPal changes a true nerf, or are you fine with using PayPal points to pay for some things? Seems like PayPal just wanted to make sure businesses stayed in-house. I have no idea what you're talking about. Should we add that to the wheel of topics here? There we go. We've got a whole new topic. I'll have to look that up, but maybe you can kind of give me the 10-second version here. Let's see. Polygraph says to New again, I say all the time, I get my hotels in the city portal at 12x. I take the points. I transfer them to American or JetBlue. Nobody likes portals, but it works for me. That is a strategy that works awesome if you are not working on a net zero philosophy like I do. For me, getting more than 1 cent per point is important because it's got to pay for it some way. New again says lots of variations of water heaters, tankless solar, condescending. Condescending. You're a dumb guy. Condensing, gas or electric, etc., and get a good install you don't want to blow up. I just want somebody that'll have like a 2-year parts and labor type thing. Polygraph says if they change transfer rates to AA or JetBlue, then I'll panic. Professor, without knowing precisely what the problem is, would you say it's time to panic? Yes, I would, Kent. QC Man wants to know what the analogy is Dugroz put in a members only video. What was the topic? I can't remember. Oh, it has to do with my job, work related. And somebody had said, like, is Dugroz AI? Like, am I not even a real person? So if you are a member, which I know you are, QC Man, go to any of my members only videos and just put a comment under it, and that'll help me remember to talk about it. Tag Urette says water heater just to feed the algorithm, or maybe I should take the free water heater. That's another game show. Behind door number 1, we have $2,000. Behind door number 2, we have a free water heater with installation. New Again and Polygraph just became best friends. Yep. Bryjack says WH equals water heater. Oh, thank you for translating. I have to go back to that comment now. Where was it? What was it? Okay. In your age of existing, water heater is a data point in if it should even be done. Oh, like, do I even use a water heater? Do I use like a Renai tankless system or something like that? Brian and I will talk that over today. Maybe. Let's see. Juan says, I have a Lennox AC unit, 3.5 tons, works well, especially running it hard in the summer heat down here in South Florida. Thank you. I am here in Iowa, and not like Florida, but we do have 25 devastatingly hot days per year where it goes over 100 usually. Speaking of Juan gets a hat tip for dropping the first, and so far only, tip in the tip jar, $3 with the comment, I also love the word tertiary. It's one of my favorite words. I agree with you, Juan. It is a perfectly cromulent word. Celebrate, celebrate. Thank you for the tip jar tip. I really appreciate it. New Again says, I did heavy research into Choice. Latest was in December. I've never seen Choice charge a resort fee. Thank you for answering that. Fee. Bill Wright says WH equals water heater. LOL. Thanks, Brian caught it. And QC Man says, here's a too long don't read explanation. In a few months, you won't be able to withdraw the PayPal cash back into your bank account. Your best option will be using the cash back on check. What was that? Your best option will be using the cash back on checkout on PayPal purchases, but no nerfs to earnings yet. Oh, is that like where you go to Dollar General, swipe your card, and it says, do you want to use 1,000 points to erase $10? Sounds like what you're saying is it's a penny per point for now, but we can't say for sure. Bill Rice just want to add that nothing's really free. Yeah, that's like Kohl's. Kohl's has this item on sale. Let's see. This item is normally $100. Let's increase it by $40 and then give a 32% discount. And then grandma comes in like, I got it for 32% off. Aren't I amazing? QCMN says bank account. I knew what you meant. WH equals water heater. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate that. I don't know if we've met, Alex. Way to go. Add something. If you're watching this after the fact and you don't want to tell me about your watching pattern, but you want to feed the algorithm, just say water heater. It's funny how YouTube thinks of things, and like if you get 4 or 5 of the same comments, it thinks like that's the trend. I mentioned the AI generated video we listened to at halftime, and I'm like 90% sure I didn't say anything about my shirts, but it's smart enough to go out and do a quick web search. And I'm sure on one of my videos in the last 6 years, somebody has said something like, dude, didn't you wear that shirt last week? And like, did you get that at a thrift store? So the AI is like, Dugroz is well known for wearing the same shirt more than once. He probably bought it at a thrift store, and it worked that into the song. So some of the things I added, some of the things I just figured out. In fact, there was one I did about my hometown, Ottumwa, and like I gave it like 7 things, but it indicated like 12 things about the town, one of which was like a joke about the high school being so old they still play the same fight song they did in 1963. And I'm like, that's actually accurate. This is scary good. Dun, 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 dun. That's the end theme. We're not quite done yet. Spin that wheel. Looks like we're going to get PayPal. that we just talked about. PayPal, let's remove it. So I'm gonna have to do this one on the fly because I wasn't prepared for this. Let's see. Doctor of Credit almost certainly has an article on it, right? There it is right there. Let's see. Are we still sharing our screen? Hat tip to Doctor of Credit. PayPal to remove redeem for cashback PayPal rewards redemption option. This was announced on the 18th, so just 3 days ago. I told you guys last night in the community tab, I've been living in a cave for a week. One moment while I cough. PayPal has announced a policy update and the big changes that will no longer be possible to redeem PayPal rewards for cash back. This will go into effect on August 1st. Well, thank you for giving us at least a little bit of advance notice. Let's see. Yeah, basically you can't put it in a PayPal balance or a PayPal savings account. If you want to make either redemption option, do so by no later than 11:59 p.m. Standard Pacific Time on August 1st, 2026. Let's see. You can still do things like charity, gift cards via Honey, and PayPal checkout, which are only available on some extensions. Yep, that's going to ruin the PayPal debit card for me because I don't like being forced to use it at certain places unless there's like a really good, super common PayPal at checkout. So like Walmart, Walgreens, and if you can use it for gift cards. Hy-Vee, like CVS would not be a good enough option in my mind. Sorry about we're gonna have to move along here before my voice gives out. Tag Urit says we could use this air conditioner to feed the algorithm with this heat wave. There is kind of a heat wave, but my heat wave is like 48. QC Man's been a member for 24 months. Celebrate, says we are getting old. That's true. Feels like I just started live streams like a month or two ago. Mike Newland says, let's try the Sparrow mattress equals AI algorithm. Wants to know if I've been in a cave because of your missing in action glasses. That wasn't why, but that certainly doesn't help. I did have to take the time to call around. I still haven't found them. Wanda wants to know what AI used to write music. Got to get in on that. Your song was awesome. Thank you. The song program I use is Suno, S-U-N-O, like a sumo wrestler, big fat dude, except swap out the M for an N. And then for the collaboration part, I use Claude, C-L-A-U-D-E, on the $10 a month version. I'm only 2.5, 3 weeks into it, so don't read too much into that. There might be better options, but a friend wrote a funny song and sent it to me, and I've been trapped since then, spending some of my free time doing that. But yeah, if you guys are getting advertisements on YouTube for the Sparrow mattress, now that I mention it, Dugroz report video Sparrow mattress. Dugroz reports best mattress reviewer. Dugroz driving with Dugroz mattress reviews best mattress review. Turn on Siri or Google Voice and play that into it a few times. That'll help me out. Back to the wheel of topics. Ooh, we just slid into Chase Price match. Chase Price match. I like a wheel with one choice. We'll come back to that in a little bit here. Okay. This one I do have an image for. Here we go. Chase Travel is offering price match guarantee for hotel bookings, select cards only. Hat tip, frequent miler. Chase Travel has recently added the ability for Chase Sapphire Reserve for Business, and JP Morgan Reserve card holders to take advantage of their new price match guarantee policy when making hotel bookings through the travel portal. So is this big news or is this just like, This sounds exactly like what Capital One does. They will do the match, but they will only do it on the publicly available rate. Now, Stephen Pepper from Frequent Miler says with some banks, the price match is like if all you have to do is be a member, like you're logged into your IHG account, but you get the generic member rate, they will still honor that. He said other banks know it has to be the publicly available, not logged in rate. So since this is so new, I don't think we have any data points on it yet. Does this move the needle much? No. Is it like quality of life, a little bit of an improvement? Yeah. So I'm not booking a lot of travel through the Chase portal, but somebody give me a reminder real quick. What does the Chase Sapphire Reserve earn on travel booked through their own portal? I think it's 5x on flights and 7 on hotels. Or I'm making that up completely, but I'm confident somebody else knows the answer to this. QC Man says, is Claude better than ChatGPT? I don't know, but based on extensive research that I did for at least 5 minutes, Claude is more private, so less likely to leak or reveal your private details. Somebody, I'm in before somebody's like, every AI is going to leak your private details. So maybe, I guess, what's the worst case scenario? I'm only using it for writing music. So it's like, hey, there's this guy in Iowa named Doug, and he really likes big band music from the 60s, and he likes Horst Jankowski, and he likes the Carpenters, and he likes Burt Bacharach, and he likes Burt Camford, and those kind of things. Like, oh no, all my deepest, darkest secrets are out. Kevin says, I've been to 3 different Choice Cambrias, really underrated. All have been nice, and I've received free upgrades every time, probably because I have the Choice card. That's the one issued through Wells Fargo, right? Jesus Chris says, bless you, Roz. My coughing and sneezing. YouTube Experiment is here. Driving home, drive safe. Don't look at the screen, please. Thank you for feeding the algorithm. Is this like the Capital One price match? Yep. Luke says 8x. QC Man says 8x. So I'm assuming it's 8x for anything in the Chase portal. Or at least hotels, flights, and rental cars. What about vacation rentals? Are they also at 8x? I could probably do a web search here really easily. I have the technology. I know how to use the internet. So let me just take a quick detour here. 8x on all purchase through Chase Travel, including the edit. Okay, so even like if you rent a cabin in West Virginia, as long as it shows up on their website, you earn 8x. So price match with 8x, that's pretty good. Capital One is 10x, so not quite there. Hotels are 12x with the City Strata Elite, so not there. But would you rather have 8x with price match Chase, 10x with price match Capital One, or 12x with price match, 12x without price match over at City? Choose your own adventure. New Again says Chase price match is big news. It applies to the edit hotels also. Hey, there you go, except you can never afford them. Chad says Cambrias are totally top tier. I agree. Ask Chad. He travels a lot. He knows. Vincent says, I watch at 1x speed. Celebrate. And he also celebrates 19 months of membership. Celebrate. Ooh, only 5 months away from 2 years. New Again says, everything is 8x in the Chase portal. That's like in Star Wars Episode 1. Wipe them out. All of them. What is the earnings? Is it 8x? Yes. On which ones? All of them. Tia Rico says, I only use Grok now for web and Google searches. So like instead of going directly to Google, you use Grok. Vincent says, you need to do a credit card music video collab with Rex. Rex, are you watching this morning? I have thought, like, I'm sure you've all have these kind of thoughts. You know what would be the coolest collaboration in the world is this. But the problem is nobody's going to make any money, and who wants to spend 40 hours working on it for no pay? That kind of thing. Like, if I said something like, Rex and I will work together to make the Dugroz theme song in music video form with like footage of me doing all those things in perfect time to the music. And I said, I need 30 people to donate $5 each. Would you? And at least half would have to go to Rex to make that fair. Great idea, though. All right. One more topic left. I wonder which one it'll be. Spin that wheel. This is so dumb. That's unfortunate. Do any of you have kids that watch Dude Perfect and know what wheel unfortunate is? Doug's credit card apps. And it's gone. Okay, so I need to go over to here. I need to share this tab, and then I need to bring up a new piece of information. So I've been saying it for quite some time. There's two different strategies that I'm going to take. One is shooting for a new Chase Inc. card and just seeing what happens. I doubt it'll work, but hey, let's give it a try. So I did that, and you want to know what happened? Here's what happened. They sent me a nice little letter online that says, "Dear Douglas," I can't zoom in on this, I apologize. "Thank you for applying for a new Chase Visa Signature business card." This was the Ink Unlimited. I had closed an unused Ink Cash about 3 weeks ago. It was a duplicate, and it only had like a $2,000 credit limit. "We reviewed your business information and we're unable to approve the application for a new account this time. We know this isn't the answer you wanted. Blah, blah, blah. Here's what we based our decision on. You held this card or another Chase business card without an annual fee in the past." So basically all of the things about not being able to churn them anymore, at least this one data point was true. And it worked exactly the way that we thought it would work, similar to Amex. So I finished my application, hit the submit button. The wheel spun for about 30 seconds to a minute. And then a window popped up that said, "Mr. Rose, we see that you've held this card or a similar card before. Therefore, I'm so sorry. We cannot offer you a sign-up bonus. However, if you'd like to open the card without the sign-up bonus, we're good with that." And then there's a button on the side that's like, "Cancel this application and it doesn't affect your credit, or proceed without the sign-up bonus." And I canceled the application because I don't really need more than one Ink Unlimited. So this is a hard stop. I mean, there's no point in calling Chase for recon because they're like, "Nope, you ain't getting this." Technically, I didn't even submit the application. I withdrew my application, and there was no hard pull on my account. So I guess I'm happy that I didn't waste a hard pull, but I'd rather have the 75,000 points plus my wife's refer a friend. So c'est la vie, as they say. I guess the Chase Ink train really is dead for me. My last one was a Hail Mary. So what's a game with two Hail Marys at the end? And then you probably knew this. I want to give a little bit of a hat tip to Luke from Luke's Points and Miles. If you're still on board, thank you so much, Luke, who told me that the US Bank Triple Cash Rewards business card is not one where you have to close your old card before applying for a new one. I actually have one right now, 0% for a year. So I am carrying a balance on there specifically because it's 0%. So I'm like, they mailed me something a month ago that said like, "You're pre-qualified," not pre-approved, but pre-qualified. So give it a shot. So I put in my application and got this. "Congratulations, Douglas, on your new credit card. To get the most from your card, blah, 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 blah. Your card will arrive in about 6 business days. Be sure to activate it. That will give you a total credit line of $24,000. So my old credit line was $24,700, and my new credit line is exactly $24,000. So apparently US Bank is trusting me with over $48,000 of credit on these two cards. I have another $10,000 of credit on my US BAR, so that takes us up to $58,000. Then I have another $5,000 plus on my Visa Signature, which takes us up to what, $83,000. So if I were to just max those out and leave the country, US Bank is on the hook for $83,000 just based on my own credit cards, not counting any things my parents are authorized users on and that kind of stuff. So that was kind of fun. I do have a little bit of a data point with that, though, as I go to the next picture here. When I keep getting this email from US Bank. I've got it 2 or 3 times now. after I've already been approved, after it already shows up on the app saying, we saved your application, don't forget to complete it within 30 days, they keep telling me to finish the application even though I'm already approved. And if I click the finish my application button, it looks like they are having me start from scratch and re-enter all my financial information. I don't want to go all the way through and hit submit your application again and then get a third card. Or do I? I don't even remember what the spending requirement and sign-up bonus is on this. Let me rephrase that. I don't know what the spending requirement is on this one. The sign-up bonus is $750 cash back, and you have to spend either $4,000 or $5,000 in 3 months or 4 months, something like that. U.S. Bank sometimes does the weird 4-month application, like 120 days. 120 days from application. Whatever it is, I'll make it happen. In addition to the water heater / air conditioner, we also have a mattress frame. We're keeping the same bed, the same company, but we're going to experiment with changing from a queen to 2 twin XLs right next to each other, like a fake king size. So I need to buy platform beds for those. We're getting a stump removed from our front yard, couple $100. So I'll be able to make the sign-up bonus pretty easily on this one. And then last on the Aporama, we picked up, my wife and I, the autograph card under my wife's name. I already have an autograph. Now she has an autograph from Wells Fargo. And you might be thinking like, well, why not do the autograph journey? It's got a bigger sign-up bonus. I would rather have the 20,000 points with 0% for a year than have the 60,000 points with full interest. Never carry a balance if you're paying interest, but a 0% interest card can be a reasonable tool. So this serves 2 things. One is it gets a 0% interest for a year. It's a solid card. Also, she has a Wells Fargo Signify with about $700 worth of cash back trapped over at Wells Fargo, and she can only transfer that to my account if she has a points earning card. So I'm going to move it from her Signify to her autograph, her autograph over to my autograph, and then I have those Wells Fargo points available. Just because of like our kids coming up on college in a little over a year, they're taking some online classes for dual credit, stump removal, new deck, new roof, new everything. Having a couple 0% cards might be kind of nice. And then when I get to the point where the 0 points close to done, I'll have a home equity loan or home equity line of credit and shift it over to there. Or maybe get a new 0% card. But at least it's just optionality. And in this particular case, optionality is nice. So that's where we are at. Calders is here. How you doing? Says, I know Wheel Unfortunate from my watching habits, not my non-existent kids. Ha ha. Yeah, the boys and I have joked around like, Dude Perfect's been around for like 12 years now. Like they're in their 30s. What's going to happen when they're in their 40s or 50s? Like, welcome to Dude Perfect Old Man Edition. Or like, this video is sponsored by MetLife. Get your supplemental disability insurance in the link below. QC Man says, this is totally off topic, but YouTube recommended an old video I'd never seen before named Whites Only Laundry. It was super hilarious. It's not as offensive as it sounds. I'm black and thought it was hilarious. I know exactly the video you're talking about. It's like a laundromat that will wash only white clothing so that you don't accidentally have less bright white clothes. And the poor guy trying to explain their business keeps accidentally sounding racist. New Again says it would be real cool if Chase Price Match included rental cars. Supposedly Capital One does that. They do. I actually did it on a rental car once that I ended up not using, but I did it. QC Man says, I guess you could try an EIN with the Chase Inc. and see if that's a workaround. Also, if you're willing to pay the $95 and have the spending for the sub, the Inc. Preferred is excluded. Is the Inc. Preferred excluded from family language? This is my understanding is that the 2 no annual fee Inc. cards have their tranche of family language, and then the Inc. Preferred has their tranche of family language. So if you've had the no annual fee card before, you can't get either one. If you've had the Inc. Preferred before, you can't get that one. I've had all of them, so I could try, but I think the odds of it working are about what they say in Dumb and Dumber. What do you think? A guy like me and an Inc. Business Preferred, what are the odds? it's not very good. Talking like 1 in 10, 1 in 50. It's more like 1 in a million. So you're telling me there's a chance. JW Jackson says, make sure you book your flight with points if you leave the country. What made you think of that? I'm missing the connection there. New Again says, I got that. Oh, by the way, we've met before. I remember saying JW or W, but Jesus wants me to always use W for the rest of this live stream. New Again in 9964 says, I got that US Bank notification for over a month after it was approved. US Bank's IT is not good at all, but it's better than Bill. Yeah, they are like relational, but not good at IT. Actually, they're doggone terrible. My dad's checking account has had duplicate transactions showing for like 6 months now. I've learned to just ignore them. They're not actually happening. It's just showing. Points Dexter 73 became a new member. Thanks, Points Dexter. Celebrate. By the way, the little like quirky tongue-in-cheek name, like instead of Poindexter, Points Dexter. I get what you're laying down. A tier says, I would think if using the edit credit with price match and 8x, I'm in. Great. I hope that works out for you. Ziza says, yo, Roz, would you say it would be smart to transfer over city thank you points to choice at the current 2-to-1 before the deval occurs? That's a super hard question to answer. Can I think on that one? Since I literally just found out about this like 3 hours ago. New Again says, I've never had the ink preferred, just the other inks. Chase denied me for a CIP in January, citing the opening of Chase business cards in the last 24 months. That's sort of like 524 language. So yeah, apparently you can't get away with it. We have now done all of our topics. So there's only one thing left to do, and that's to get into the picture of the day along with community tab questions. Now I can play the ending theme. Bum, bum, ba-da, bum, bum, ba-da, bum, bum, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Source King says, I haven't got a new card in over 50 days. The night sweats and withdrawal shakes are tough. I hear you. Although I've been a good boy now and then. Let's see here. Okay. Every Friday, usually somewhere between like 5 and 9 p.m. Central Time, although I was a touch late last night, I put a community tab question online where you can ask me anything that will be pertinent to the next day's live stream, and I will try my best to answer it. And there's always a picture in there, and you can guess where that picture was taken. So here's today's picture. Oh, that's kind of weird. It's me on some sort of stone thing, and there's a lady in the background there. Looks like she's wearing a pink dress. What is that all about? So let's go over our guesses, and you can guess also. Ian says, my wife and I were on Price is Right. I love that music. Do you mean in the live studio audience, or you actually made it to Contestants Row? If you made it to Contestants Rows, we're going to have an even bigger conversation. QME C-Man says, with a derailed ink train, do you have at least one more year's worth of UR points for your Aeroplan scheme? Yes, and my wife and I together have like 300,000 Aeroplan points right now, so we're okay for now. The future is problematic, though. Texas Dog donates $1.99. Thank you so much. Celebrate, and says, Doug, you are part of my Saturday routine. Aw, shucks. Thanks, man. New Again's commiserating with Source King about aporamas and the necessity thereof. All right. Luke D. Johnson says, if all sign-up bonuses disappeared tomorrow, how would your credit card strategy change? And I said, lots of crying, LOL, and I will discuss. I got to sleep late last night, so I didn't put any thought into that. But probably what I would do is try to maximize like a perfect wallet. Now, the good news is if sign-up bonuses all went away, I bet the everyday spend would be better. So as of now, I'm still thinking City, but I have to reevaluate this a little bit. Built would probably be in the equation, so I'd probably do a City and Built heavy wallet if there were no sign-up bonuses. Thank you, though. For the picture, Luke D. Johnson wants to know if I'm in Washington, D.C., and I said no, but not too terribly far away. Bob Travels always makes the best guesses, and he says this. You just finished a self-guided tour of the state capitol building in Salt Lake City, Utah. You're waiting for an evening wedding to finish so you can sit on the great lawn, eat eat dinner from the pizza pie hole, and watch the sunset. I think you just predicted a future trip there for me. Bob will have to get to the Salt Lake City, Utah state capitol sometime, but no, that's not where this particular picture is taken, but excellent guess. Luke D. Johnson said, if somebody had to build a strong credit profile from scratch today, what would you not do that most YouTubers recommend? That is a great question. Can I take a rain check on that one, Luke? I want to be a little fresher and think it over more. So why don't you ask me that on some other video, and I'll come back to it. But thank you so much for caring enough to ask. Ron Byrne made a guess. It's a statue at the Gettysburg Battlefield. Nope, not a statue at the Gettysburg Battlefield, but you're in the right neighborhood. Do you have any tips or tricks to reduce auto insurance for teenagers? The premiums could be a sub each year. Yeah, no kidding. My insurance premiums went from like $240 up to like $425 when my boys started driving. I'll be honest with you, my life's been so busy, I haven't shopped around. I do have State Farm, which has the safe driver discount where you download an app and it spies on you and you have a little doodad in your car that tracks your GPS. That reminds me, I rode around with my son driving recently and was using my phone. So I need to go into the app and say I was not the driver. The safe driving app has a little thing where it's like, oh, you drove terribly. And you click a button that said, I wasn't driving, I promise. I wonder how often you can do that. But yeah, just use the Safe Drive app. Make sure you go in and update a trip if you weren't the driver, and it'll help save you a little bit. I think last year it supposedly saved me like 11%. So that's something. I also have instilled the fear of God into my boys as it relates to safe driving. So that. Let's see. This is a question about Price is Right, or a clarification. Ian says, both live for 2 shows. My wife was in Contestants Row for 1. She won a trip to Charleston, and we stayed in a really bad Holiday Inn, but it was free. Awesome. So she made it into Contestants Row, and then was the prize to get on stage the stay, or did she win her pricing game? And what pricing game did she play? Let's tell her what she's won, Rod. Sleepy Rod says, how will you replenish Aeroplan after your current stash? I don't know. I'm hoping for the best. I do often max out the rotating categories on my Freedom Flexes. Chad Pennyguff's here. How you doing, Chad? How was the Hyatt Place in Puerto Rico? Somebody wanted to know earlier. Been watching on my TV a while. Thanks for hopping on board. Appreciate it. And QC Man is saying hi to Chad. And Chad's My Man says, the Salt Lake City Capitol Complex is very nice. I loved it when we went. Oh, that's good. I didn't know you were a points and miles and state capitals and president's grave kind of guy, Chad. Source King says, I'm considering throwing in 3 or 4 applications at the beginning of April and seeing what sticks. Not a bad strategy. David Viejo said on the community tab, shitty. Whoa! City makes me shake my head, but I'm okay. Yeah, City makes me shake my head too. Scott S says, I'm surprised how hard a sell it is to normies for Built. I can't get any traction in conversation with them about the hobby in general either. It would be funny for everyone to hear their similar stories. On my members only videos, I have at least 3 videos about conversation with normies. I couldn't explain Built to somebody easily. I would just say, hey, get a Venture X and put 2X in everything. Ron Byrne responded to that, said, I gave a 20-minute presentation at my work for points and miles and cheaper travel. They liked the idea of discount travel, but didn't want to put in the effort to massage the rewards or manage the rewards. Yeah, Ron shared that PowerPoint with me. He did a great job. But yeah, I one time mentioned it briefly at work, and one person seemed like super interested. And then like 20 seconds into my explanation, they're like, nope, I'm out. So sometimes it's hard. Like, I want all the benefits, but with none of the work. As for the location of this photograph, Dad on a Mission made a guess saying it's a monument near Wheeling, West Virginia. It depends on your definition of near. It's not that near. And then he said, I got an email from City yesterday about the devaluation of points and went over what we just discussed. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. I'm going to use a crying emoji several times. There we go. To react to that. All right. I think that is it. Let me just nope, got more. Yuri BSU says the picture is a lot of grass and trees. Is it Gettysburg, one of the monuments to the cavalryman? Nope, not Gettysburg, but you're kind of heading down the right path. So thank you. Let me make sure I didn't miss anybody else here. With that in mind, that takes care of it. But you probably want to know where the picture was taken. If I zoom out a little bit, does that help you figure it out? There's the zoomed out version. This is the Yorktown Victory Monument in Yorktown, Virginia. So not too far from Gettysburg, not too far from West Virginia, kind of in that mid-Atlantic area. But basically, Yorktown is a port city in Virginia where the French and the Americans did a blockade of the British, a siege, and led to Cornwallis surrendering, who was the biggest general of Britain at the time. Maybe not the biggest, but one of the biggest. And it's functionally the battle that won us the Revolutionary War. America, America, take that, British. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the British. Here's a picture of the monument up close to the top. Lots of sisterhood. I think each one of these ladies represents one of the 13 original colonies who fought the war together. And then here's a nice looking sunset type view of the thing. That's all we got. Oh, I forgot to mention somebody. Thank you, QC, man. Is that player 2 in the background? Nope. I was on this trip all by myself. And awkwardly, I'd been sitting there for like 15 minutes and some girl walks up and starts taking her glamour shots with her boyfriend photographer over here. And I'm like, I could scooch a few inches to the left and not be in her picture, or I could. So I split the difference and like was in the first 3 pictures. Then I scooched over and made sure I wasn't in the way because she probably wants them for the gram or something like that. It was an awkward moment. It was actually the second time I've been at like a historical monument or historical fortress, and there's some wannabe Instagram model like, I'm leaning against the wall of Fort Jackson in Pensacola. I'm at the Victory Monument for Yorktown. Something along those lines. All right, let's see here. Sean is here, but a little late. That's okay. All is forgiven. So Ian's wife was on Price is Right and had to bid on a set of knives to get on stage. Actual retail price. Did she follow the correct rule of bidding $1 more than another guest? Pricing game was flip or flop for the trip. Didn't make a showcase, but the couple next to us won it all because I coached them on Cliffhanger. They got $69,000 in prizes. Whoa. Yodelay, 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 ooh. If we ever meet in person, Ian, we're going to have to go over the story in more detail. Source King says, eating at a restaurant side of Hilton triggers past credit, right? It has for me every time. Same with FLX. Chad Pennyguff says, the Hyatt near the T-Mobile Center was perfectly fine. Nothing earth-shattering, but solid and reliable Hyatt quality. He's referencing Puerto Rico, if you're still watching. QCM says, cut that clip of Dugroz cursing. Well, the problem is, whoever it was, I don't remember, wrote City, C-I-T-I, and then the very next letter was S as in S-M-H, shake my head, and my brain kind of merged city and schma together, and that's a dangerous set of words. Chad's Money Minute says, I was there doing genealogy research, my secret guilty pleasure, and I decided to look around. Ooh. My secret pleasure is really corny songs from the 60s and 70s. Mike says, Dugroz, we got kids on here. Nugent says, no sub. I guess I go Amex and US Bank, I guess. Nope. Caesar says, language, mister. Chad says, it was years before I got into Points and Miles. All right. All right, we're done. I'm going to review who donated, then we're going to wrap it up for the day. Tom Graber gifted 1 Dugroz Reports membership. Mike Newland dropped 20 memberships, just as good as a $60 super chat. Texas Dog celebrate. Oh, I should probably highlight these. Texas Dog celebrates 16 months of membership. Studio TK drops $1.49. Tariq drops $1.49. Kevin P drops $2. Waldo drops $9.99. Polygraph Zone $4.99. Kevin comes back around to $5. QC Man comes back around to donating a membership. Bryjack became a member. QC Man celebrates 24 months of membership. Vincent Pascal celebrates 19 months of membership. Points Dexter became a member. And Texas Dog dropped $1.99. Juan from the MIA dropped $3 in the tip jar. So thank you so much to everybody who contributed. We're going to call it there. As always, may your spending be frugal and may your points be plenteous. Thanks and bye.